Hello, green box. Hello, live counter. Going to take that to mean we are live. And that means welcome back to the Storytime network, where we are playing more D&D. We are currently in the middle of a somewhat zombie apocalypse. Somewhat apocalypse rather than somewhat zombies. It's definitely zombies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're called zombies, at least colloquially to you guys, because, they look like zombies. Well, no, actually, to be fair, their bodies are in fairly pristine condition. None of them are actively rotting, to your knowledge.
Yeah, it's because they're fresh zombies.
If
Well,
they act like a zombie and walk like a zombie,
they're
they're a
probably
zombie.
a zombie. I mean, you
Mhm.
don't know. But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
But no, I mean,
You-
yeah, you go ahead, Kado.
I do want to say, sorry for the last session with, how things went. I've already been working on how to make things a lot better pacing.
It's fine.
We're going to be starting
Like I
off
said
with...
before, it's fine if I get less screen
Yeah.
time this time around, because I
This
got
whole-
the bulk of it last time.
This whole thing was a big experiment,
Mm.
and I know what to do and what not to do now, so it's a lot better. It should be better.
Hmm.
But for now, we're going to be starting off with, Gen.
Yes.
So, this is going to be before, while Aldane was doing their stuff at the beginning,
Mhm.
and, Seamus was doing his bit, and so... You were asked by Kurogane if you could scope out the sort of area around the outskirts of the city where a lot of the farming takes place and a lot of managing of boats and stuff that can't immediately come into the dock. Most of what you've been told is mostly just checking in on how things are, as there's been some shady characters that have been passing through.
Right.
And given your expertise in handling people and, not around officials, they deemed you as one of the best people to look towards.
Am I going this alone, or do I have a partner in this?
You have been asked. You can go alone, unless you would like someone to help. But the idea is at least you on your own. As far as you know, though, all of your companions are busy doing something else, so it'd have to be an NPC.
I haven't hung out with Jade in a while.
Aha. I mean, you didn't actually have to ask her, because she would be coming along regardless.
Right, but you know what I mean.
I mean, it's nothing wrong with having some muscle, especially if you're dealing with, aggressors.
Yeah.
So yes, Jade comes with you. She is very excited. She hasn't been able to fight in a bit. At the moment, she's still not allowed to carry weapons, though. But that's just because it's Jade. Yeah, she's just I can't wait to go on this mission.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's been a while since I've had to do the walk around the dock. I tend to
So-
avoid that area for a while.
I mean, to be fair, you don't want any people. Well, I don't know too much about your history. All I know is that you do have some problems, as far as I know. Am I right? With people?
Yeah, I tend to avoid the dock. Don't want some friends from Bovatman coming our way.
Well, regardless, I've been asked to. Well, you asked for me, and I'm happy to help. And hey, I have
Yeah.
my divine sense, so that should help very well. So if there's any fiends, undead, or celestials, I can always scope them out. I do kind of need to be close, but hey,
Yeah.
better than nothing.
Better than finding out too late that they're coming up our ass.
Exactly.
How have you been, Jade? Feel like we haven't talked in a while.
I've been good. Mostly just been doing work. It's been nice seeing Akra again, though. It's been a while since I last saw him.
Yeah.
Anytime I've had time off, it's to go back there and visit.
Your aunt and uncle doing okay?
They're doing good. I mean, it's nothing special really. And school's going well. Can't complain.
Yeah. How are the kids at the school that we were teaching at?
Out of character, that would have. No, yeah, that would have happened because this would have been like an alternate like timeline, I guess. Who knows? We haven't achieved the best ending yet, so we don't know if this
Yeah.
can be canon. It just nods and says, "Yeah, it's all going good." A lot of people had a lot of things to say about you guys.
Sure.
Mostly good, don't worry.
Anyway, we should probably get to going, shouldn't we?
Just nods. So, Daron, give me 2 perception checks and 2 insight checks. And Jade will also do the same, even though she's not trained in either of those things.
Oh, that sounds fun. And naturally.
So, as you walk around, a lot of this is on the edges of the city walls.
Mhm.
So, some people have built some of their homes along the walls, or like placed tents by the walls. Just, obviously, so they have something sturdy to be on. Most of the people aren't really living in squalor, though. The only people who are actively living in like bad conditions are people who like are just not either not making an effort or are clearly like like not officially there. And even then, like some of the people who are just like immigrants are living pretty well. So it's a bit of a mix. Like you can tell there's probably a couple of like criminals who is something up with your mic, by the way, again.
No?
It's just because I don't know if anyone else can hear. There's quite a bit of feedback.
Okay, that's weird.
It's just
Hold
like you just seem to be existing with noise.
Hold on. Oh, it might be my fan. Hold on. Is that better?
would make sense. Yeah.
That sounds much better.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Yeah, I had my
fine.
fan going.
But yeah, like again, like a lot of the people who are living in squalor are probably like criminals who can't really afford to live a bit nicer. But it's hard to really tell who the criminals and who are just people who really don't care about how they're living as long as they sort of just
Yeah.
a roof over their heads. There's not many guards around the outskirts. There's only a couple here and there, especially because they have lookouts anyway in the city walls.
Right.
So having Jade with you is very, like... A lot of people are giving you a wide berth. It doesn't really help that, like, Jade is also very tall. Like, for a female Goliath as well, and just a Goliath in general, she's very much above average in build and height. So, like, yeah. Because you've even seen a couple of Goliaths who are on the outskirts who are like, oh my god. Like, yeah. Also, just some people fear the green-eyed Goliath that happens to be Jade. Because, she's pretty infamous.
Yeah, to be fair, so would Dyrod if Dyron didn't know Jade better.
I mean, Kurogane met her for the first time by being beaten the shit out of by her. And Guy, to be fair. But yeah. Jade is too busy, like, looking around. She's clearly not really been around the city outskirts very much. If only just because then Kuro can keep an easier leash if she's within the walls.
Right.
And, just make sure she's not, like, getting too giddy. And just, it's easier to, sort out property damage as well if they're within the walls. And just, yeah, it's a much easier job to look after her. As you're walking along, though, you're coming up to the bit where sort of, like, the ocean flows into the city. Because there is a bit of a river in Centralis. But you kind of have to go out of the way to find it from sort of the entrance to the city.
Right.
this is sort of where the biggest gathering of people are, as you are seeing people like getting water out, and some people are trying to purify it and clean it. You know, so they can have drinking water and like just water in general.
Hmm.
That and like some people are doing like bits of river fishing and just various stuff like that. It is absolutely the biggest concentration of people. And you are seeing, actually, as you start walking along, you do see someone very suspicious. For a brief moment, you see the head of a bald man. But I'd say with that perception, and it's not even because you did badly, but you only just catch the glimpse of them, and their face kind of almost looks like they have a skull for a face. But amidst the crowd of but
Can
I was-
can I try to follow them or?
yeah, I was just gonna say, amidst the crowd of people, you don't get the best look. Clearly tell they're a bit well, not a bit, they do seem very suspicious, especially if you're insight check.
I whisper to Jade, "Follow me."
She just nods. Okay. Are you trying to be quiet? Or are you trying to? Or are you just making your way over?
Being quiet.
Give me a stealth check then. If you want Jade to be quiet with you, she will have to make her own. I'd laugh my ass off if she double nat 20s on this stealth check.
No.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Not even close. But yeah, she is just making a lot of noise. And like, she's just booking it straight to... Did you tell Jade about the person you're pointing to?
Yeah, I
Or
told her. I pointed him out.
Jade just immediately makes her way over. Jade is not one for subtlety.
Subtlety, what's that? Jade, probably.
And yeah, she just makes her way over, like pushing through, and like, you know, knocking over a few people. One guy accidentally falls in the river, but the river isn't too deep, so it's not even a problem anyway. At least in the bit where she's pushed a guy into. But like, and you do notice the guy that you're trying to sneak towards, because she's basically being a very good distraction for you. They are not running away, but they're moving, almost race walking away, you could say. But their back is to you, so you don't really get a good look of them in any like identifiable features. The most you get is the fact that they're wearing a very like dark cloak that isn't being used to cover their head.
I nod at Jade to just do the thing. Like do the bit that I know she's gonna do.
What do you mean exactly? Because otherwise Jade might do something completely different.
I mean, like, kind of stop him, like use her presence as an intimidation factor.
Right. She just nods, and she actually will use her channel divinity as she moves in to champion challenge. So they can't willingly move more than 30 feet away from her. And she just says, "Hey you! Stop right now! I'm part of the Cordician Guard. We need to have a few questions with you, sir." And as she calls out, the person must make a wisdom saving throw against Jade's DC, which isn't too bad, to be fair.
While this is happening, can I try to do the insightful fighting?
Yeah, you can.
Wrong roll, sorry.
I mean, yeah, you weren't scary at all. So he passes the thing with Jade, sadly, and then he has to make a right.
Deception check.
Well, that's a crit. Nat 20, which actually manages to beat you.
Oh shit.
And the person just keeps moving. And as you are trying to follow this guy, you actually watch as Jade bumps into someone. And she actually no, I'll make a roll. Yeah, she actually gets knocked back and stumbles. The man is probably a bit shorter than Jade, but you can tell they're quite muscular just from the build of the person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their features are being covered up, and from the angle you're at, it's very hard to see their face. What do you do? Do you chase the guy or do you go to Jade?
I go to Jade.
So, as you go to Jade, you see the face of the man, the person. I will say a man because you can clearly tell they are at least male presenting. They look like an orc. They've got quite big tusks. You kind of recognize the face of the person. One of the biggest distinguishing features, though, is that they have bright red irises. In fact, if you want, you can give me an intelligence check to try and remember who this guy is, if you can't remember yourself. You have seen this guy before. You've definitely seen him. In Centralis, actually. But with, like, you know, the red eyes, though, you don't remember anything, an orc with red eyes. And you've not really made a lot of business with orcs outside of, you know, Prody and his, like, camp. All the ones from the Aster Forest.
Right. I don't remember. Like, again, the player does not remember.
Well, and as the person stands there, looking at Jade and then to you, you begin to hear a scream from behind. Let me find some new music.
So is he just standing there menacingly?
Very much. No, this isn't the song. Oh my god. Is this the one? Fuck it. It will be. Ego Mill and anyone else. Yes, unfortunately, this was the map. The map that I wanted to use, the one that I'm describing, isn't the one that I could actually get to work for some reason.
Oof.
As you turn around and Jade turns around, you see basically this from one of the tents bursts this big hulking behemoth of a person. They are like incredibly muscular, almost too muscular, and they have an iron mask for a face.
That's concerning.
I'm just gonna bring you and Jade down onto here for the sakes of things. It should be, yeah, you should be able to roll initiative if you can do that for me while I sort stuff out.
Yeah.
Also gonna roll Jade's initiative. Wow, Jade was ready.
Oh, damn.
And then I have to drag this token down. Wow. Peaks and valleys.
The duality of man.
Yes. So, you see this big hulking behemoth just walk out from one of the tents, and in his hand is a human. Not a human, sorry, just like a person. And it's hard to really tell the face as it gets crushed, the skull, by this big beast person thing. It's hard to really describe because they're just like, what the fuck is going on? Jade looks to you for a second and nods as she runs over to the creature and goes to make a punch. And she will do so. And you just watch as her fist hits the thing in the chest, and it just does not flinch. And then she pulls back her fist and goes for another punch. Connects. And let me see here. Oh wow. Nearly met. So she just punches it straight in the center of its chest, and it does make a groan, but then it just stands there as if it's not too bothered. Dayron?
Oh, fucking hell. I do my cross. She didn't melee, right?
Jade's in melee, yeah. I'd say you could move into melee and flank if you wanted to, but that works.
Does that hit?
Yeah, you do get sneak. Nice. That's actually pretty good damage. Apart from that, sick. Still though, not too bad. So that is what? That's
21 points of damage.
21. Nice. So you managed to punch right in the bit of the chest where Jade. You managed to punch a hole pretty much right through the bit where Jade punched, and it does go in very deep. You do see the creature like groaning even more, very angry and aggressive. And now the creature. So it actually begins to almost like walk around Jade until it gets a bit closer to you.
Are there any bystanders?
There's a lot of bystanders actually.
I am yelling, run.
A lot of people are running. They just saw a guy's head get crushed by some big like hulking monster.
I'm screaming, get the hell out of here.
But yeah, the creature begins to walk around. Its head turned to you. And by this point, it actually provokes an attack from Jade as it moves out of her range. Not by much. And you can tell this creature is very slow. But Jade gets a free punch.
Mm-hmm.
Hits. Another 10. She manages to punch it right at the back where the spine would be. And for an ordinary person, she'd have probably paralyzed someone permanently with that kind of punch. And it still keeps moving. And it moves in such a way where it's right between you and Jade. And it lifts its hands up into the air, slams them into the ground. I need you to make a strength saving throw. It's just a wave of just like a shockwave comes from it, blasting the ground. Right, so you are now considered prone, and you take... actually, I need to even check if it hits. I forgot that, because this does count as an attack.
Can I uncanny dodge this?
You can. I'm guessing a 18 hits, though.
Yes.
Yep. You take 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Or I would.
Yeah. Ask to roll to see if it hits Jade as well. And it crits. Jade takes 38 bludgeoning damage. No, not 38. 36. Sorry. 36. Still a
World
lot.
of difference there.
She's now 29 out of 65 HP.
I just want to point out that would have KO'd me.
Really?
I have 34 hit points.
Oh yeah, you're frail as fuck, aren't you? Well,
Felix is the twitchiest party member.
but yeah. And Jade just screams in pain as loads of debris flies at her. And one actually smashes her right in the face. And you watch as she just spits up blood. And now it's her turn. And she runs in from behind, goes for a punch. Actually, no, wait, I forgot she has this. She would have tried to shrug it off some of it. Wow. So yeah. So instead of 29, she's at 34. Still not great. But now she goes for the punch from behind.
34 is a perfectly fine amount of hit points to be on.
Because you can clearly tell this is some horrible beast that needs to die, she's actually going to level 2 smite this. Oh, and then 48. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
That is 34. So as she punches it again, right in the spine, she brings a fist and you can hear a squelch, but she's clearly impaled this thing. She drags her fist up in an uppercut, and as it does, you just watch as the entire upper half of it is exploded into atoms. Only its legs are left, as it just falls to the floor.
Jade, are you okay?
You actually, as her eyes are almost glowing green, you can clearly tell she's sort of in a zone.
Yeah, that's fair.
She just gives you a very small nod. And well, you think that would be all, but then you hear more screaming, and what sounds like thrashing, and like animalistic noises, as... And I'm gonna drag multiples of these to give you an idea of how many there are in total.
That's concerning.
Yep, as quite a few of the townspeople are attacking each other. And all of them have red eyes, just like that one orc you saw.
Jade?
I know!
I was gonna say let's go to the city.
I'm not leaving these people.
They're already dead.
There are some townspeople being attacked, is the thing. And some that are still alive that you can save if you want to.
I hate being the responsible one.
So one is a 19, which goes after Jade. A 17, sorry. Then there's that, and then those two. Right, so you watch as one of the more, like, just normal looking zombies. The ones that are just considered zombie would be like, say, like normal built races. It's like maybe gymnastics and all that kind of stuff, and you know, more normal humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you an idea, as one begins to lunge at a townsperson and tries to bite them, gets an 8, which misses, I'd say. And another one actually runs to Jade and goes to attack her. Rolls a nat 1. She just stands to the side and holds out her arm, and it just runs into her arm and clotheslines itself. Now, an old man. You watch this old zombie look at you, Daron, as it comes from another direction and tries to dash towards you, meaning it's in melee, but barely. As it is your turn.
Can we say that I have a my rapier? I don't have isolation, but I have a
You do-
rapier.
Yeah, you'd have a normal rapier, I'd say.
Okay. I don't have a magic rapier, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's just a normal one.
Okay. So 15, 22.
Give me a sec. You should actually just be able to use isolation.
I just didn't want to use plus magic.
I've changed it to it's just a normal one now, so it should only just be.
Okay.
Oh, if you just give me a sec, 'cause I'm trying to. Yeah, there you go. So it should work like a normal one, but yeah, 22 hits.
Let me just roll the damage then.
Yep.
Just gotta.
You don't get sneak, unfortunately, because.
Yeah.
Oh,
So 5 piercing damage.
yep. As you stab it right in the face, it just makes a groan and a screech. Does that hit? Yes, it does, because these zombies all have 8 AC.
2 slashing damage.
Yep. You managed to slice off one of its teeth that's just in its mouth hanging out, and it just screeches. The more thin zombie, again, elf zombie is like, again, like thin race is like, say, a younger elf, or like, you know, even like Darren would probably be listed under this. As it lunges, actually sees Jade, seeing a big meal, runs to her and tries to attack. Also gets a nat 1. So then Jade moves to the other side and holds out an arm, and it runs into it. And now the short, stumpy zombie is another one that's attacking the townsperson. Gets to 9, which does actually hit this commoner. For where's the thing? 6 plus that. You watch as it bites in to this young girl who's just been ditched by her boyfriend.
Hit
she's just-
move.
And she's just calling out to him, and he's just like running away.
Wow.
And she just gets bit right on her Achilles heel as it's grabbed her by the leg. Jade's turn. She just she punches her fists together, and you watch as they glow as she casts divine favor on herself. As she punches the normal zombie. Hits. 10 plus the d4. A good amount of damage. And then she goes to punch the other one. Sadly, Jay doesn't have a weapon on her, which would make this fight much easier. Hits. 9 plus 3. You know what she's gonna smite. She knows these need to die. Killing it. And she just looks to you, Darren, and says, "Are you alright, Darren?
Barely.
Don't let him bite you." And you actually watch as the woman who's been bit, her eyes already start glowing red. Like the rest of these rabid people.
Great.
The Zombo that is currently engaged with Jade makes an attack.
The Wombo Zombo?
Wow, nat 1 again. What is with these zombies? For fuck's sake. I mean, I don't want Jade to get hurt, but like... I mean, it'd make the whole scene with meeting Seamus very strange. But hey, you know.
Sometimes you can't control it.
But yeah, thankfully she didn't get hit. The one that's currently just sort of attacking another person. Wow, rolled a 2. Old man, in front of you, Dayron.
Yes.
Rolls a 2 again, another one rolls a 2. I really don't know what to say. Like, I'll even show you the screenshots.
We believe you.
As it just tries to lumber for you, and you manage to push it away. And now it's your turn.
How far away am I from Jade?
I would say you're about 20 feet from her.
What would it cost me an action to give Jade a short sword?
I'd allow you to underhand it as like a bonus action, but it would require a check for you to toss it, and then a check for her to catch it.
Okay, I'm gonna underhand throw her a short sword.
Give me a dex check.
Should be good at these. Should.
And now Jade has to make a dex check of her own to catch.
Oh dear.
The sword just goes past her. She can pick it up, but she'd have to spend part of her turn to do it. But there is one within range. You do have your normal action, though, against this old man.
What the fuck?
That hits. The AC
Yeah.
is 8. So wait, that was... just checking. He is dead. As he manages to stab the rapier through its head, and it continues to try and scratch at you and try and bite you. And you pretty much have to like, rip its head off unintentionally because of how like fragile the body is, and you're trying to pull the weapon out and get away from it.
Great.
But now you're free and you have movement.
Can I move into flanking with
For Jade, yeah.
I do that for her.
Now the short zombie tries to... Yes, the short zombie who is currently biting on the girl keeps, like, bites down, after having bitten down on her, pulls away and seeing 2 tasty morsels in front of it, tries to run for you, Dayron, but it's just out of range because it has bad movement, and so it spends its turn doing nothing. Jade, now enjoying the perks of flank, picks up the short sword, which means I have to drag that onto my character sheet. Thank you again.
I mean, she didn't have a weapon.
I'm joking, it's fine. Actually, you know what? You can get inspiration for it. If you didn't already have it.
I don't think I did, so.
Well, now you do.
Great.
So Jade picks up the sword, actually twirls it in her fingers quite deftly, and goes to attack the zombie that is flanked for you. Well. And because of divine favor, so she stabs it right in the head, holds one end of the short sword and basically twists the sword round its neck, like she's, you know, like screwing something in place, and snaps the head clean off. And then, after having done that, she runs over to the shorter zombie and goes to attack that one. There we go. Wrong thing, I meant to do the short sword. Would have hit regardless, but you know. 11 plus... I'm still going. The zombie that's currently attacking a townsperson hits. And you see another innocent person being bitten. In fact, as it goes to your turn, Dayron, the young woman who was bitten earlier on actually stands up, and I'm going to put another one back on. I should have really kept the thing on. Wow. She'd have to wait though, so don't worry, she's not going to interrupt you. Yes, you have your turn. There's a zombie currently engaged with Jade, and then there's the other two.
Is the townsfolk dead?
The one that's been bitten? Still
Yeah.
alive, but barely. Honestly, it'd probably be easier to just mercy kill him after you've dealt with the currently active zombies. And that's provided... I mean, you don't even know if there's a cure or not.
Yeah.
You might have a way to save him.
I strike the one that's right with me and Jade.
The short one? I will say that is near death.
Okay.
Like, your minimum damage roll will kill it.
Okay. I shoot my crossbow at one of the other ones.
Alright then, roll to hit. Hits.
11 damage.
You shoot the girl that was bitten. Because she was already bit earlier on, you kill her.
You should shoot her.
Shoot
Wow.
her! Shoot
Wow.
her!
Daron murdering women. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Now, Kaido,
Come to the
women
dark
deserve to be
side.
murdered
We have
equally
cookies.
alongside men.
I'm an equal opportunity murderer.
You take them out, Daron. You do a very good job. You can move if you want, so none of them can, like, dash towards you and get in melee.
I stay by Jade just because we should probably stay together.
The shorter zombie goes to try and attack Jade. Gets a nat 4. Jade goes to attack. Ka-chow, it's completely dead. Don't even need to roll for Divine Favor. Then she spends the... actually uses the movement to run into the other zombie. Goes for an attack. Hit. Plus Divine Favor. Still alive. The zombie... You know, it's currently being attacked. Of course it would go for Jade. Misses. Daron.
I insightful fighting the zombie.
I...
Can't beat it.
It physically cannot beat you. Yeah, that hits. Doesn't crit, but you still get sneak. Doesn't matter, it's dead. It's utterly dead.
Yeah, but I wanted to roll a sneak attack.
Why is it blue?
Because I rolled a 1 and a 6.
That's so... I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen it before. It'll... When you roll a mix of the best and the worst.
Right. Yeah. Combat isn't over as there sadly... Well, no. It is technically over as there is one guy still alive. But he's barely clinging on. Millie, can you use the last song we had on before? The X5X?
Jade, we can't let him live.
We need to try and save it. As she just crouches and attempts to use lay on hands to heal him. It does heal. Well, no. She tries curing him, which costs 5 HP, because that is how Lay on Hands works. But you watch as even though the wound sort of festers and like slowly calms down in intensity, the guy actually begins to sort of froth at the mouth, and his eyes begin to go red. And you just hear him whisper, "It's so good."
Jade. We can't do anything for him.
She just grits the teeth and just takes the sword in both hands and just wordlessly stabs him through the head.
If Kuro has a problem with you using a weapon, he'll take it up with me.
I'm sure he'd understand. We need to find... We need to know what's with all these...
Yeah,
this plague or infection or whatever it is.
come on. We should get inside the city walls.
As you go inside the city, it is currently pretty quiet, I'd say. Eerily so. As there's no one at the gate to actually enter the city. Despite this probably being one of the busiest parts of the city, it's just dead. The only signs of life you see is a dead guard member who's clearly been like, you know.
We need to get Rua out of here.
We need to get everyone out of here. It's not just him we need to save.
We'll do what we can.
Rua can look after himself. My duty is helping the people who can't help themselves. If you want to go
Right.
find Rua, go for it. I'm not leaving these people to suffer.
We'll do what we can.
Just nods. First of all, though, we need to regroup with any other guard member just to find out what's happened.
Yeah.
And as you're walking through the city, she actually pulls out a sending stone and just holds it to her mouth. And she just looks at you and says, "I'm going to try and get Kuro on the line and see what he has to say." And you hear, as she talks into it, she basically just says, Daron and I had to fight crazed townspeople that infected others with bites, and big hulking monster. Men with a skull face might be culprits. And, you know, she waits and gets a response, and she just looks quite grave. She's quite pale-skinned anyway because she's a Goliath, but she looks even paler than what she would be. And she just looks at you and just says, "Oh no." I got a response from, well, the Sending Stone Daron.
Yeah.
That wasn't Kuro that picked up.
Who was it?
I don't know.
That's...
Which means his Sending Stone specifically is made in such a way that it pairs up with all of the guard's Sending Stones. So if someone else has taken his Sending Stone, he could be sending false information to people.
Fuck.
Which means he could be lying about stuff, he could draw people into, like, getting attacked.
We need to find Kuro himself. Come on.
We need to probably the best idea would be to find the biggest source of noise. Kuro would definitely find himself in the thick of action if he could.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not amongst the dead yet.
And Give me perception. Give me just one perception check right now. Jade will also do so. You can clearly tell Jade's not happy with what's going on, and it's sort of like distracting her quite a bit. She's clearly, focused. It's just her mind is sort of elsewhere, where she's sort of barely just registering more than what she needs to do.
Right.
She's also like 15.
Yeah, this is traumatic.
She's never really had to kill a person before. But yeah, as you're moving through, you actually hear screaming coming from a nearby marketplace along where the river sort of flows into the city, actually. Around her area is sort of a bar. And if you're correct, you remember Seamus was playing a concert nearby.
Let's see if we can find Seamus.
Which is how we would have gotten, I think, did I actually clear the map because I'm cringe? Oh, no. Yeah, we would have gotten to here. Where this is where you found Seamus and Kuro as you were trying to, and then encountered these.
By the way, how did Jade acquire a great axe along the way? Did she just pick it up?
Well, we're actually going to get into that. It's just, as you walk along, you do actually find along the way there on a weapon shop.
Yeah?
Inside, the whole door's been smashed in. There's no one inside, but you do see some weapons about. All of it's pretty standard weapons, though, nothing magical. But inside, Jade does actually pick up a great axe.
Yeah, I grab Jade. I think we get Jade the magic axe.
Well, as you're looking along, though, actually give me investigation, I should say. Jade will also do it. Yeah. So as you look inside, you actually see into a back room. Inside, you see an axe that has sort of red-tipped edges. And inside was what seemed to be the shop owner. He's been covered in bite wounds, as he clearly his last moments were trying to reach for the weapon.
Can I tell if he's is he dead, or is he
He's been bitten in such a way that even if he did come back, he'd be completely immobile, or he'd be reduced to crawling.
Okay.
And yeah, you see the axe on the wall, which is what Jade then picks up, which is how she gets the flame tongue axe. And she just looks quite solemn as she picks it up and gives it a few test swings. Right.
You ready?
No, but what can
That's
you
good
do?
enough.
And yeah, so we're gonna go back to the marketplace, the square even, as you were running out away from those big mutants, and Jade is following along behind. You had to run for a fair bit. It didn't help the fact that something like various boxes have been tipped over, and just it's a panic. It's a bit awkward to walk around some areas.
Right.
And so some areas will be considered difficult terrain, but considering a lot of it's theatre of the mind stuff, it's not too big of a deal.
Right.
But yeah, you find yourself at the square. It's eerily quiet. You can clearly tell you've managed to lose those big mutants, especially because they are very slow. So yeah. And she just rests the axe on the wall, and she starts panting. So we found Kuro and Seamus, and she just looks down. I don't think they came with us.
Yeah, we kind of got trapped by the boots on the other side of that.
I didn't get to ask him about his sending stone. Fuck!
think we had more pressing matters.
I know. Just thinking. Damn it. As you're stood there, you do actually hear an inhuman wail. One that you've heard a couple of times since entering the city. You aren't sure of the source of the noise? Well, no, actually, yeah. Because, would you... No, you didn't actually see those shadow mutants, did you?
No.
No, so you don't even know the source. Yeah. There's just this inhuman wail throughout the city. Not all the time, it's in like very occasional bits.
We should try to find some of the other guard. Christina, Guy, any of them.
I know, damn it. The only place I would probably recommend is if we were to maybe check in with... Fuck. And you can clearly tell she's like struggling. Like no one's really prepared for this sort of situation.
Right. Is there a way for me to be like, like
I mean,
try
you
and
can
help
take
calm her
charge.
down?
You can take charge if you want and like, yeah, try and calm her down. If you want to persuade her or whatever, you can.
Jade, we do what we have to do, okay?
I know. Oh, by the way, I forgot. And she walks over. Do you want me to heal you? I completely forgot about that.
I'm okay.
And she just gives herself a cure wounds. Level 1. That's max HP as well.
Yeah, and I just try to like get Jade's like mind off of,
Yeah.
like try to get Jade towards, not freaking out.
Jade is 45 out of 65 HP. She only has one more level 1 slot left and a level 2 slot left. She's still quite rattled, but it's not as bad as before. I know, and she just points down that way. Down that way would be probably where Kuro and Seamus would be. We could try and round them off and see if we can meet them along.
Let's try it.
The only other thing I'd suggest is along the way if we can try and make a lot of noise. If we come across some enemies, I'll see if I can do like smites or anything to see if anyone can see us from a distance, but I want to save onto them if I can.
Yeah.
So, are you...
It would be best. It would be best if we could get in contact with someone with thaumaturgy like Seamus.
I don't think... Seamus doesn't have it, does he? Dylan.
Well, someone who can be loud.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say is if, what's it called? I mean, Sora would be a good help. He can fly, but that's if he's around.
I feel like
Cammy-
I would know if Sora was in town or not.
Cammy's would be good as well to see if she could climb. Guy would be good as well if he can get sending spells out. Or Turim. Yeah, let's head out. And so you're going upwards, right? To look around? Yes?
Yes.
So as you go up, I'm just going to put you to the world map. You do see some prefab walls, and Jade would explain, like before, these like quick, easy, self-buildable walls put up in case of like invaders. And the fact that there's quite a few, and you already see one of them's been like bashed down. From the sides, it looks like one of them big brutish creatures that you saw before. And
Right.
considering you already saw 2 of them inside the city, there's at least 3 in existence, and you've killed one of them, and that's if there isn't more.
I just... Let's see, how do we want to do this? Yeah, we try to get like, we try to like go around to Seamus.
Give me 3 perception check. And you're also trying to be stealthy.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Give me the perception checks first. Alright. Pretty pog. Nice. Yeah, you only need to do 1, I'd say. Jade is going to do her 3 perception checks. She gets better over time, at least. Wow. So, Jade is sadly making a lot of noise. In a sad way, you can hear a lot of like, as you get further into the city to get your way around, you do actually see some burning buildings and like debris that are kind of masking like the noise. It helps that the zombies are clearly not actively looking for stuff and a lot of them are aimlessly wandering. And because the zombies, at least these zombies, have such bad mental stats.
Yeah.
7 is actually not a complete failure. But perception, at first she's too busy trying to like keep ahead and not. She's trying too hard to not make noise. But as she sort of gets to realize, oh wait, I can actually afford to make a bit of noise. Her perception is better, but it's still nowhere near as good as you. You are on the ball, like, you were sort of built for this sort of thing, really. But it's nice having Jade as backup, especially because she can, like, hold the line.
Right.
But yeah, as you go in, you start to lose any trace of Seamus and Kuro.
I've lost them, Jade.
As you go to where you should know where they would be, and given Jade would also know the city pretty well, you don't see them at all, which is worrisome.
Ruh-roh.
Shit.
Yeah, this is bad.
Let's see if we can find any of the others.
Yeah, we need to... Who though? I mean,
moving.
We need to find any guards, but... what's your passive perception, by the way, Daron?
23.
23, right.
Shit,
So in the
that's even
distance...
better than mine.
So, I'm just checking something from your sheet, Aldane. Yeah. So, at one point during your, like, exploration, you do actually see a flash of divine light. And you've seen it similar in when Jade has done her smites. So it seems like it could be another paladin or two. And if there's a paladin around, that means there's at least one guard about, which is better than nothing.
Aldane, maybe.
Dane, anyone. Just anyone for more numbers.
Let's go.
You know,
come on.
Yeah. And you make your way. As you make your way along, though, you do actually see a couple of survivors in a building. The building currently has barricades up, but the zombies are tearing it down. You do hear screaming from within. What do you do? Because you can just leave them if you want.
Is there a way for me to kind of like get in there, like acrobatics my way in?
I mean, it only seems like the zombies are attacking at the front. You could probably find a back door.
Okay, I do that.
Yeah. Do you tell that to Jade, or is like?
I tell Jade to keep going. I'll catch up when I can.
I'm not leaving you here. And besides, if anyone's going to go off, it'd be better if you were to, because you can sneak and do acrobatics.
Okay, come on. Let's go.
So
We move as quick as we go into the building, move as quick as we can, try to get as many people out and with us as possible.
Why don't you do that and I'll hold off the zombies' ear and the creatures? I can find stuff to throw at them.
Okay. But if you're getting overwhelmed, Jade, get out of here.
I know, I'm not stupid.
Okay.
So give me stealth, Daron. Right. I would say the DC would be very easy because Jade is making a lot of noise for you. And you do hear Jade just like, "Come over here! I'm right here! Try it!" As she activates a flame tongue weapon and just plants it in the ground as she then like picks up some rocks to chuck at him. As you sneak around the back, you do actually see a window that you can easily get into. Do you go in?
Yep.
As you climb in, you do see an orc actually holding a cupboard against the door. Inside is what looks to be his wife and children. His wife is heavily pregnant, you can tell, and he has 2 young sons.
I just hold my hand to my lips, as in shh, be quiet, shh, I'm here to help.
They nod, and she just gestures for the children to follow you, and she just lumbers away over because she's heavily pregnant.
Yeah. And I try to do my best to get them out quickly.
Yeah. It's not too hard, thankfully, because she actually does manage to unlock the back door. But you do see the husband is still holding the cupboards, and there are a few. As you sort of get to the back door, you do hear sounds from the zombies are quietening down, as it seems like Jade is getting through them quite well.
I try to signal, come on, we can go.
He just nods and pretty much dashes over, so you can then follow along.
Yeah, and I make sure I'm the last one out.
Yeah. As you do actually see a couple of zombies get inside the house. But by the time they could reach you, you could easily outrun them.
Yeah. I try to I make sure I'm always at the back of the group, making sure no one's being left behind or.
Yeah. So as you do that, you do actually begin to hear the sounds of just quiet from the building. It's actually not too far from as you make your way out. It's probably on a minute of running and checking around that the noises vanish. You do actually hear the familiar noise from Jade's armor as she runs over.
Oh good, you're okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I came at him as hard and fast as I could. Thankfully, this axe is pretty useful.
Good. I gesture to the family. They were the ones inside.
Right. God damn it. And she looks at the pregnant woman who, honestly, it wouldn't be a shocker if she started going into labor at any moment.
It's one of those. Great. I'm so happy. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's almost it's like I'm sort of playing from the handbook of zombie cliches.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, you went into a weapon shop as well, But yeah, from where you are, if you want, you can give me a survival check and an intelligence check to sort of have a good idea of where would be the best place to go. Yeah.
Oh!
Fantastic, actually, one of the best rolls you could make. So, from where you are, the best place would probably be is, if you went a bit out of your way, and you were willing to be a bit risky, you could actually find the guardhouse, the lower tier guardhouse, which in theory would probably be the best place because a lot of guards would be there anyway, and if that place has fallen, you're probably kind of fucked anyway. But it would have the best fortifications, and there'd be a lot of able hands, and you could keep catch up with people.
Yeah.
And you could probably find Tristina, Guy. Maybe Kuro's gone there. You don't know.
Can I still locate where that the smites were?
The what? Sorry.
The smites.
Oh. Just bit my fucking tongue. So the smites were coming from a different direction. If you wanted to head to where the smites were, that would be in the direction of the art gallery. The thing is, if the smite's going on, that probably means fighting.
Right. We should go to the guardhouse.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. So as you make your way to the guardhouse, I'd say... Oh, sorry,
like, aside
what?
from the... I was about to say, like, aside from the palace, it's probably the safest part of the city.
Well, actually, do you look towards the palace?
Yeah?
Give me a perception check. No, you don't notice anything. It's eerily quiet from the palace. There's been no action, which might be good. Maybe this is purely localized to the lower tiers, the lower districts of the city. But you don't know.
Regardless, we should get to the... We can hold up in the guardhouse until...
I agree. So, as you make your way there, because you're traveling with a group, I'd say you would need to make stealth checks again. Give me just one stealth check and one perception. And Jade will do the same.
Stealth and then perception.
Wonderful. And now I need to roll for the family. The heavily pregnant woman has disadvantage because, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, she got a 14.
Good for her.
Now, the dad got a 21. And the two children... Wow, one of them crit. And the other one also crit. In the other direction.
You love to see it sometimes.
So nat 20, nat 1. So... Because a nat 1 doesn't mean an auto fail in terms of skills, and at least in my campaign it doesn't, because I'm not cruel. I'd say the combined average is actually good enough that you succeed. And so you actually manage to just sneak away from some of the zombies and like anything that might get in your way. A couple of times Jade and the dad, because he is quite muscular, like chuck some things. I have to move objects to like make the way through. Because as you move sort of through the town, not only do you have to make your way around some of the prefab walls, because you can't really afford to knock them down, because you know,
Right.
it would mean the creatures get easier access through the city, but it would also make a lot of noise and the time. But it also doesn't help that some of the buildings are also blocking with like normal pathways you would make because of some buildings being destroyed and damaged. So
I feel like I'm scouting ahead, like running off, coming back.
It actually ends up taking you about an hour to get to the guardhouse when it would only be like 15 minutes. And in that time, we're going to move to someone else. In fact, I'm going to change the music as well, as we're going to go to Felix. Here you go, Mill. You don't have to keep checking and being ready.
You say that, but partway through, I did doze for a few minutes.
How fucking dare!
I got woken up at 11:30 by a fire alarm. Damn it!
I mean, don't start fires.
I didn't. I made sure to check that it wasn't me starting the fire.
It's always a concern.
I didn't think it would be me starting the fire. I didn't have anything electronic on, but I
We
did
didn't
just.
start the fire.
I needed
Da,
to
da,
make
da,
sure.
da.
We didn't start the fire.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm trying to find music anyway. Is this the one? No, this is the one, I think. No, it's not. Okay. I should really do separate D&D playlists, so I can be like, my tense music. So, I'm just going to set the scene anyway as I try and find some music. Basically, Mill,
Mm-hmm.
You were called by Rue himself. He actually wanted to ask if you could... Here we go. I found the music as well.
That's good.
This one. It's meant to be deliberately creepy because of what's going to happen soon enough.
Oh, goody.
So, as you are called to Rua, he basically asks you about wanting to do a portrait, basically of the idea is sort of that he wanted to do a portrait of basically him with his grandfather, and then he would give you a description of his likeness of his mum and dad, so that you could sort of do something for him as a family, for his family.
Yeah.
And so at the moment, you're sort of partway through talking along with it with him, as he's sort of describing what his dad looks like. Very similar to him and his granddad. Like, the only difference is that, like, because Rua and Rua's dad aren't fully wood elves, like, they have more paler skin than their granddad, and
Yeah.
just stuff like that, and yeah. And it becomes interrupted as you begin to hear very loud footsteps coming from the room you're in at the castle. And you know Zaris is away, so it's definitely not him. And through the door, you see this man. Let me find the artwork if I can. Thank God I made a Hatayia of the Dead folder. Where is it now? There it is. Copy file, and I'm going to put it in the general chat of the Discord.
Alright, that should be interesting.
If I can... Oh my god. It's not work. There we go. Here it is. You see this man.
Okay.
A very pale face with what looks like a skull for a face. His ears are actually tipped round. And there's only one other race that you can probably sell it as sort of like rounded ears and sort of the features he has. He's very likely human. And to the side of him is this tall orc man. Very distinguishable features and very bright red eyes. If you want, you can roll to remember who he is.
That's just straight intelligence.
Yep.
Darn.
Wow, even worse than what Gen did.
Felix is
You
too busy
don't-
thinking about painting stuff.
This guy's just an orc. Red eyes are weird, but you know. And as he walks in, he just gives you a smile. He looks through and gives him a smile. He just says, "Ah, yes, Rua Evere, King of Centralis. Oh, but where are my manners? My name is Galpio." And I'll type it out. Where are worry not, I'm not a member of the cult of the Tarask. I'm not as uncivilized as those barbarians. But I just wanted to speak with you and get to know you, as I'm actually a big fan of you and your family and their history. And as he's smiling, Brewer actually just stands up and draws his sword. Because you actually see out from the doors are the two guards that were stood outside. And they've been ripped to pieces by something sharp like claws.
Oh,
And
that ain't good.
and
Felix
you don't
dances
see
as well.
you don't see claws on either Galpiu or his cloaked friend. And these claw gashes are huge.
Can I just say, if you've brought another bone claw, you are being really unoriginal right now.
Felix, shut up. And he just like waves his hand at Galpiu and just says, "No, no, no. It's not a bone claw. It's something much more interesting. Beautiful even.
A claw bone?
Clever. I call it a shadow mutant. It is a creature designed to blend in with the shadows and strike with precision.
I feel like
with
you
the
could workshop
intense-
that name a little more.
Well, and he clicks his fingers, and flanking you and Drua are two of these, and I will actually post this in the Discord, just as, again, why not? No, that's the wrong image.
Oh, the image, Gronk.
There you go.
Wrong image.
Copy image, copy link.
Oh, those fuckers.
The thing is, because you've never seen these, of course, Mel, these are actually huge. These creatures would be considered huge in terms of token size, which means 3 by 3. And bearing in mind, the other ones everyone else has dealt with are 2 by 2. In fact, these are what I would call perfect shadow mutants. And the idea is, as he clicks his fingers and they go invisible. Now, do you understand the name Felixus Ferus?
Not really.
And shakes his head. Of course you wouldn't. You're too simple for that.
Weren't you just saying I was clever a minute ago?
Yes, and then I redacted my statement. I should have realized. I mean, after all, I know all about you. I know all about you and your family, just like him, and all of your friends. I knew just well enough to time this, that Akira Everay wouldn't be here to spoil my plans.
You know, in hindsight, it seems like it was a mistake to let Zaris and Akira have time off at the same time.
Rue just looks at him and says, Zaris already left. And just like, Rue's just... And in fact, Rue actually moves closer, and he activates his astral self. And he just looks to Galpiu and says, "Why are you here then? What do you actually want?" And he just smiles widely and just chuckles and says, "Ah, yes, good question. Well, what I want is to help bring everyone to the next stage of evolution. You see these mutants..."
Okay, hi, evolutionary. Jesus.
He gestures to the two shadow mutants and just says, "These two were actually from two lizard folk people. I gave them something great that would help them evolve. And now they're in eternal bliss. Look at their smiles. They're happy."
Insight?
Yeah. Who are you inciting, and what are you inciting for?
The Shadow Mutants, to see if they're actually happy.
They're smiling. They're grinning ear to ear. With that
I don't know if
gesture,
that's a happy smile.
they look happy.
I think that's a malicious happy.
Why, what I've given them makes them only feel nothing but joy. And they want to spread it with others. But that's beside the point, and I thought, well, Maybe Akra would also like to be happy. From what I've heard of his history, he's been quite miserable as he's gotten older. And not only that, but he could be strong. He could be strong and happy. Who doesn't want that now? And as he's talking, Rua, you hear his voice almost in your head just say, "You need to get out of here as soon as you can and as quickly as you can. Find anyone and bring them here to stop this man."
Okay.
And and Rua begins to sort of walk forward and just say, "Well, you have me. And, well, I will say I'm not going to go down without a fight, as I don't intend to let you rampage through my kingdom." As he punches his fists together and tries to go to attack him. And let me bring up Rua's sheet, as I need to do some rolls for him. As he goes for a stretched out punch. So as he goes for the punch, you see the fist about to connect, and he just waves a hand, and he just watches it's deflected. And then he goes for another one. And this time, he goes for the punch, and it actually connects with his face, hitting the man. For max damage as well. So you actually watch as he basically punches the guy and knocks him to the ground. And at that moment, you see the Shadow Mutants begin to dive onto Rua. One of them goes for an attack with their claws. Dealing... actually needs to see if it even hits. That's 21. Oh. As Rua takes 11 slashing damage. And then another one attacks. The other one. Getting 24 to hit him. Dealing 12 slashing damage. And you just watch as they're starting to attack Rua. What do you do, Felix? Do you go as he says? From where you are, you could easily misty step out of the room and book it.
So there's the two Shadow Mutants and then the Galpeu and Orc Boy.
The Orky boys just stood there though, not actually getting involved.
Oh, what to do?
From what you can tell, the cloaked person's actually looking straight at Rua. Doesn't seem to be really fixated on you at all. And you can clearly tell with these mutants, they're aiming in such ways to not kill Rua. Like, they're hurting him, obviously, but
Yeah.
you know. And Rua just starts screaming at you to get out. And he actually does tell you, as he's being attacked, there's some sewers down at the bottom of the castle. Go there now!
Oh, I don't know what to do. I've had like 5 hours to prepare for this, and yet I'm not ready. Felix. Felix will cast slow on them, on the four enemies.
Alright then. wisdom saves, right?
Yes.
So as you do that,
Counterspell.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a feeling.
and now you can't use Misty Step. Right then, so now I'm actually gonna do initiative because, yeah, roll initiative, Felix.
I don't have a token to click.
Actually, wait, let me bring your sheet on. Let me bring your tokens on, just for the sake of actually putting you on the initiative properly. There, and then Shadow Mutant 1, Shadow Mutant 2. So yeah, roll initiative. Wow, 19.
Can't click on my token yet.
Why does it keep saying it represents Daron? That's so odd.
There we go.
Let me look at your sheet for a sec, 'cause that's so odd. Because it shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, do that, and then... Right. At least for this series, because this is a different Roll20 game, it should let you control it properly. Right, so you've got 15, Rua again. How much does he roll? Right. Now it's the Shadow Mutants. Seeing you attempt to cast a spell, one of them looks to you, Felix, and he watches its tail stretches out, and it flicks the tail at you, shooting out several spines. That's a 17.
That matches.
So it hits, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing 19 piercing damage.
Oh.
As several spines just shoot you right in the front of your body, and they fucking hurt.
Okay, that's gonna be lessened.
And the other one begins to claw at Rua again.
9.
For 22. That hits. As Rua takes 13 slashing damage. He is at 14 out of 50 HP. Rua's turn. You watch as Rua reaves himself in key as he activates Patient Defense, and then goes to attack one of the mutants. The one that's tried attacking you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't hit because he didn't have advantage. Tries again, hit. So that's actually max damage.
Wow.
So he manages to cut part of the tail off, like part of the tip off, and it just screams in agony and looks to him, clearly furious. Felix, what do you do now?
So he's clearly got counterspell.
At the end of Rua's turn, he actually just says, "Why aren't you leaving? Go now, or I'll fucking kill you." No, he doesn't say I'll kill you myself. He just says, "Leave now. Find help." I mean, again, you can stay if you want.
I mean, I am going to stay because A, he's the king, and B, he's my friend. And that doesn't especially sit well with Felix leaving him there. So... either way, I feel like this, whatever I do is going to get counterspelled, which isn't great, honestly. But alas, I will instead try to cast Sending.
On who? For
Uh,
who? Right.
Kuro.
Okay, what do you say?
Attack on the castle. Send help immediately. Guy called Galpiu with shadow mutants.
You get a response, and it says, "Really busy right now. Having to help survivors. There's an invasion."
Again, Felix thinks about in hindsight, the foolishness of allowing Zarus and Akra to go on break at the same time.
So what you doing else? Are you just standing there?
So how big is this room?
It's got quite a bit of room. The ceilings are about like. Now then, the ceilings are big enough that these mutants are having to duck down a bit. And the width is probably about like, I'd say, just get an idea, just in terms of, that won't help. That's miles. I think the room's about like 60 feet in size.
Okay.
In width and like, length.
I'm gonna try and move to the side to get how far away are the Baldy and the Orc from Rua and the two shadow mutants?
So the Humor sort of at the back of the room. The two mutants would be like, if we were to sort of put the things down, I'll just move Jade and Dayron. So this would be like, so Rua's sort of between them like this. You're then like here, and then if I put them two down, he'd be like there, and then I put this token down, and then he's like there.
Okay.
And then sort of the exit would be like this way, and whatever the way out.
Why am I showing up as Miles?
Because we're on the world map.
Ah.
I can probably fix it so it's, well, not fix it so much, but like change it to feet. Because hey, we're not really using the world map right now.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, 30 feet just puts me right next to Galpier is the thing.
I mean, you can move around and then teleport past, like, move there, and then when you're there, like, get an extra 20 feet away.
Again, this assumes that he's gonna let me do this.
I mean, yeah, but he's also looking straight at Ru. He's not really paying you any heed.
I am gonna move around into this direction.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Right. The two mutants. The one on the left goes for Rua. Hits. 14 damage to him. Not 14, 13. Leaving him at exactly 1 HP. And then the other one, seeing you, the one that said its tail cut off actually looks to you. And will, so you watch actually as it reaches out, and its arms look like it should stop at a certain distance. But you watch as its arms, almost rubbery like, stretch out to claw at you. That's a crit. Lucky you. He only dealt. I have to just check. He only dealt 23 damage.
Only 23.
I'm just gonna say now he had to roll 6 of his dice from the crit.
Let me do some
Normally rolling
calculations
3
in my head.
dice for each hit of that claw.
Let's see. I'll take it down to 8 damage.
Actually, no. The first mutant would have hit Rua because it had disadvantage.
Yeah, because of dodge.
So it rolled in at 1, so it completely missed.
Cool.
So Rua is instead much more healthier. Still not by much, but you know, still 14 out of 50.
I assume the other one still hits me.
Yeah, because you didn't have disadvantage.
No, I know that. I'm just saying
I
that
know.
it choose to hit Rua.
Yeah. Again, Rua's just demanding that you run away, because, like, they clearly want me. Just run already. If they clearly want me, they're not going to let me die.
They can clearly do worse than kill you.
Fine, die like me. Fine then, you'll have to die then like everyone else. As Rua's just going to keep fighting. Actually, no, he's gonna bonus action teleport to get to here. And he's gonna try and attack this man with his Shadokai teleport, leaving him at exhaustion now. Doesn't hit as the man holds up a hand and the sword's deflected. God. Sorry, I keep getting fucking spam stuff. Right. Anyway, so what? Yeah. 17 also misses. As again, this shield is deflecting his hits. And now that he's gone into melee, the man in the cloak actually lifts off his hood as he takes the field and starts fighting. Give me another intelligence check as you see his features better.
Please, please let me remember this person.
Do you remember Dench Smith?
Oh, the fucking,
The guy from the club?
Oh, the club, that's right. I was thinking
Yeah.
he was one of the guards.
It's him. And he looks a lot more different, a lot more, well... Again, red eyes, a lot more bulkier.
Guess you got
And-
Gaines off screen.
And Galpu just says, ah yes, this is what I call the Tyrant's Mutant. My perfection, or at least currently.
It's a better name, but the two words ending with ant really doesn't work well with each other.
Well, your move, Felix, what do you do now?
Huh. What do I do now? What's the question? I'm in a fucking horrible spot.
I mean, there is one thing you could do.
Again, I don't want to do that though. I like Rua, and he is literally king. Is there any chance I could do a roll to even take a guesstimate at how long their joy process would take?
What do you mean?
Like, because this Galpiu dude said that he intended to, do whatever it was to Rua to turn him...
Well, not to Akrua.
Oh, to Akra. What's his beef with Rua?
I mean, could ask. You could forgo your action to talk and, actually, ask if he does want to respond anyway. He seems pretty forthcoming.
Just to check, am I currently engaged? Considering that thing could hit me?
Likely, if you were to back away like that way, yeah, you'd probably provoke.
Great. Okay, that's perfect. So if I want to move, it is Misty Step or nothing.
I mean, you're within 15 feet. If you went there, you'd get closer. Or like there. You know.
Hmm. Just remind me what the rules are for spell casting in terms of how many spells per turn.
You can do a spell and a cantrip,
A
provided
cantrip, okay.
the spell is either a bonus action or the cantrip is a bonus action, and vice versa.
Right, okay.
Like, you can't cast two spells unless you had, like, a sorcerer's twin spell, and even then that's the same spell.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that because I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I'm in a really shitty position right now, so thanks, Kaido.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I know, but it doesn't make me happy. Makes me quite sad, in fact. Okay. Where'd 30 feet take me? Somewhere like there.
What are you doing then, Mill?
I am going to Misty Step. No
I'm gonna
counter
say
spell.
It doesn't count a spell if you do Misty Step.
And because Misstep is a bonus action, I'm then going to Firebolt Galpiu.
Okay.
Great.
Doesn't hit.
Mm.
Do you move? Because you could move straight behind yourself and back away out of the room, again, if you wanted to.
Can I just say to Rua, promise me you'll be okay if I leave?
He looks fine and just says, yes, I'll make sure.
Can I insight that?
Yeah, you can insight it.
Oh, god damn it.
You can just tell he doesn't want you to die. Like, he's been asking you to leave already, because they clearly just want him. And Galpier even, like, smiles and says, I only want Rua here, so that Akru will come. Do not worry, your little king will still be alive.
I could
But
get
if you
him
do
here,
stay-
you know.
But if you do stay, he just gestures to him, my tyrant mutant will make you into a bloody pulp.
Felix will move his full 30 feet away.
Would you spend the rest of it to leave?
Yeah.
No, then combat's over as you leave. Again, Rua just says, as you are escaping, that, again, if you want, there is a way to the sewers, underground, under the castle, if you can find it. Do you do that, or do you just try and leave through the exit? What do you do?
Go for the sewers.
Right,
I'm
Give me-
while this is happening, I'm also gonna cast sending again.
to whom?
Akra.
What do you say?
Attack on Centralis. Man named Galpiu has taken Rua hostage to get you to come.
It only takes a brief couple of seconds, but you hear him saying, give me a day, and I'll be there.
Okay.
So, if you're looking for this underground thing, give me 3 investigation checks.
Investigation. Not proficient, but do have. It is in, so I should be.
Well, you're having to actively look for this thing up close and, like, you know, because you don't know what to look for exactly. No,
Good start. Bad continuation.
but because I said 3.
Decent ending.
So, as you make your way through, the castle is eerily quiet. You actually see quite a few guards have just been murdered. Like, there's quite a few dead bodies you're having to, like, ignore because, you know, you're trying to get out. And it's a good thing that Rue actually recommended this to you, this idea of the basement, because as you get further in the castle, you find people shambling around with red eyes, making incoherent groans and moans. Some of the castle guards being these people. And you do actually find what looks like a room with basically that looks quite old, like the door. It actually seems like it was built before the castle was built, because you do know Centralis's castle was quite destroyed during the war against humans, and so new stuff had to be built on top of like the already existing foundation.
Yeah.
And this looks like it existed before the war. But the only problem is the door is basically blocked off by quite a few of these shambling, incoherent people. Looks like you might have to fight some of them off. There's only 3.
Felix just curses under his breath and thinks, next time I learn a new spell, it is going to be AoE.
from where you're at, you could easily like snipe them off and like blast them at a distance before they'd get to you.
Yeah. Oh.
Like
okay.
you could just firebolt spam if you wanted. And even if they get in range, you could just shocking grasp them. Because one of them is a guard, so one of them does have armor, so you would get advantage.
Right. Yeah. Back away as far as possible while still keeping line of sight with them.
What's the furthest range on firebolt again? Let me
Like
just see.
120 feet.
You could get within 120 feet and get a good like shot before they get to you. You can clearly tell they're slow enough that they aren't moving at normal people speed.
Yeah. Yeah, blast off a firebolt at the closest one then.
Alright then, roll it. Roll to hit, my guy. You hit. Wow. It does get hurt, and the three of them do notice you. Or either one of them notices you, the one that isn't a guard, and just screams, and the others start to move. They are... One of them is quite damaged, though, and it's the one at the front anyway. So it's actually slower than the other two, but the other two are further back. So you could easily, like, get probably 3 more firebolts, I'd say, before you need to start worrying. So do you go again?
Yep.
You shoot the same one?
Yep.
Roll to hit. Yeah, you've done it. Damage. And it's dead. I'd say you can roll 2 more, again, if you want. Just rapid fire, because, you know, they're still moving. Hits. You're hitting the one that's in armor or not in armor?
Not in armor.
Right, because that still hits then. Right, just about on its last legs.
Down.
That hits. And it's dead. But by the 3rd turn, you are in melee range with this man in armor. You can clearly see that the sort of face part, the face covering of the helmet it's wearing has been ripped off. And you can see its teeth all like already quite disgusting looking, and its bright red eyes as it looks to try and bite you. And it rolled a 12.
Miss.
Yep, as you push it away, but you can clearly see it was trying to bite at you. What do you do now?
Shock and grasp with the action.
Okay. Hits. Yep, and now it is shuddering in pain. If you wanted to, you could walk around it and try and, like, get away. It seems to be only moving about 20 feet, so if you moved away, you could easily, like, get from it, unless it started dashing, but then it wouldn't be able to attack anyway.
With my bonus action, I'm going to cast Shadow Blade.
Okay, alright, yeah. Is that it?
Yep.
Alright. Now it goes to try and bite you. Gets a 13.
Also miss.
Yep. And then Shadow Blade. This will be a normal hit 'cause it's not that dark. Doesn't matter.
I think I'll take the 26, by the way.
Not the 26 though.
Yeah. Damn it.
It's dead.
Still though, 2 1s.
That is such a shame. You really hate to see it, but it's dead. And now the path to the sewers is for you and free. In the distance, you do actually see one of these lumbering down the hallway. A big burly thing. It's over 100 feet away, and it's slowly lumbering. You could easily like get away from it by going down the sewers.
Yeah.
So you do that then? Yep. So as you open the door,
Yeah.
you see ladders that are going down. It's probably only like 30-foot drop down. And from what you can see on the other side as you shut the door, is sort of like this, what do you call it? Like a wheel that you can twist around to keep the door locked from your end. So
Okay, I was gonna ask if there was any way to lock the door.
Yeah, you can. You do see a sign though that says, by order of the Codicene Guard, only lock this in absolute dire emergencies. Which, to be fair, this does seem like one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if this isn't a dire situation, I wonder what is.
Yeah, so do you lock it?
Yes.
Yep, and you go down the stairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you go down the stairs, we're going to take a break. Because I do need to use the loo. I will not be long.
Well, this is a good breaking point, I guess, so let's take a break here then.
Yeah, Felix was very unhappy about having to leave. Very, very unhappy. Uh, 20. Times 5, yeah. I'll tell Kaido this when he gets back, but just gonna spend some time while I've got a locked door behind me to refill my ink slots. Because why wouldn't I? It's the only thing that keeps me alive most of the time. I also believe I'm alone here. Hooray. Yeah, I really need an AoE spell that isn't slow. A damaging AoE spell. Oh, I can't wait for, what is it? Fucking Thunderstep. Thunderstep is going to be good. Then I could have Thunderstepped away and taken Rua with me. Where's Thunderstep? Come on, load. There we go. Thunderstep. Unoccupied space within 90 feet. At the same time, he might have counterspelled me. Would have sucked. Would have sucked. Yeah, but yeah, I was relatively sure that counterspell was going to be used at some point. I was hoping that I could counterspell him in return, but I also needed my reaction to make sure I stayed alive. I unfortunately have two things that use my reaction. Oh, thank God for that cerulean gift, though. That cerulean gift is a lifesaver. I also have 3 healing potions. Also slightly disappointed I haven't gotten to use my Horn dagger yet. I honestly expected there to be more magical effects coming my way. Ah well. I wonder what the result in the City Liverpool game ended up being. 2-2. Oof. Apparently Milner should have been sent off, so... What was that? Ah, that was that. Disagree with most of that from Pep. Liverpool is kind of shit, including their fans.
Sorry, my parents called.
It's fine.
I'm back.
So just before I actually get moving, once I've locked the door, I refill my magic ink bottles.
We're actually gonna go to Seamus.
Yay! Finally. I almost had screen time earlier.
Good, I'll take my glasses off. They do not sit well with my headphones.
I mean, to be fair, you don't sit well with me, but no, I'm joking.
We love you, Mel. We love you, Kaido.
But yeah, that was a situation where I really, really wanted Thunderstep, even though I'm almost certain he would have just counterspelled it.
Yeah, counterspell can be kind of an annoying thing to deal with, huh?
I mean, that's why counterspell wars are like a whole thing.
Yeah, as a DM, I don't tend to use counterspell unless it's like a big climax fight or something.
No, I just think it's like just the paranoia of, oh, we're facing a spellcaster. Well,
Yeah, no, that was pretty much what I was thinking at the start of that fight.
in quotations.
I was like 99% certain he had counterspell, and it was going to be
We're
used.
right.
Who's here, by the way? Are we all here?
I'm back.
Yup.
When
I
would
believe
we
all
all
of
be?
us are present.
Are we already?
I've mostly been watching football though, since Seamus hasn't been getting much screen time.
Oh, did you like the Liverpool versus Man City match?
I thought it was Everton.
Ha, you're funny.
He's
You know
watching
I don't
Hand-Egg,
watch.
not,
You know I don't
Right.
watch soccer. I watch hand egg.
Nice. Yes, are we ready to jump back in?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, meanwhile, Darren and Jade were doing their whole thing. Seamus and Kuro. So, you and Kuro have been running away from the rest of the other creatures on your end. As you continue to run, though, you do actually hear another noise from one of those the creatures, the invisible ones. Even though you already dealt with that other one.
By the way, do I get a short rest or anything somewhere in there, or is it just continuous?
This is just continuous.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yep.
So, what happens is as you're running, Kurogane actually stops you and just says, "We can go down here," as he points to like a sewer manhole.
Alright, dysentery, here I come.
I mean, only if you like swim in the water with an open wound.
Well, I probably have an open wound somewhere, so we'll just have to be careful. Let's go.
This is just so we can, actually, like, not have to worry. It's just, I think we need to sort of, like, try and be out of the way of any creatures for a bit, if we can help it.
True.
And as he offers to go down the thing first, the sewers. You know, so you can then follow along after him. So it's
Yep.
safe. Yep. And as he goes down, he does call from below, and just says, "You can come down, Seamus. It's fine."
And I go down
Okay.
to follow him.
Bring you on the map. Gonna get some new music as well. Yeah, you see the sewers below that you're in. It's eerily quiet. All you hear is the sound of rushing water.
Oh, what happened to my lions? They were out with us.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Did you...
They should still be with us, right?
I mean, if we go back on the other map, the Centralis Market,
Yeah, they're there. They should have followed me.
would you want them to follow you?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, then they would have followed you. How long do they last, by the way?
I think shit, I'll have to look it up on the compendium real quick. But I think
So,
it's
yeah.
at least an hour.
Here is the new song, by the way. I mean, you definitely wouldn't have been running for an hour. It wouldn't have been too long from when you left the fight, really.
Yeah, they can each can become a lion for up to 1 hour. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to jump down the sewers, which would mean fall damage, because they can't exactly climb down a ladder.
You underestimate lions. They can climb trees and shit, can't they?
Can they?
Yeah, I think so. Well, they can at least climb rocks, unless you're Mufasa.
Wow.
Oh yeah. The thing is, though, you're expecting a lion to be able to easily jump down a manhole designed for people.
Yeah, lions might be able to climb trees. They can't jump down stuff.
Yeah, they'd still take fall damage. Anyone would take fall damage unless you like. Yeah, they'll have to make acrobatics checks for fall damage.
Alright.
So give me two. Just click Dex twice for each lion.
Oh, hold on.
Just one for each lion. Sorry.
Dex.
Okay. So let's say one of them will take fall damage.
Okay.
That is. I mean, the depth isn't that high. It's probably only like 15 feet.
Yeah.
Let's say about yeah. So this will be Simba that take 6 falling damage on top of whatever it already had before. If you've been keeping separate track of them.
I was keeping track, and they actually hadn't taken any damage before, so I'm not too
Fair enough.
worried.
All right then. If we bring you back to the sewers. Yeah. So, Kurogane has a bit of a look round, and just to get his bearings and stuff. And he gestures for you to. I actually need to check myself. He. Is it this way? Oh my god. I should have really done the format of these better. It's fine. Oh my god. Yeah, so he gestures for you to follow him, going this way.
Okay, so I guess I go around.
He would say to have the lions lead forward because, like, they're the ones that can afford to be, at the front. Oh. And then he'll be behind them. And then you can be behind him if you're alright with
Yep.
that. Right.
Sure.
Just move these across and then, yep. So I'm just going to copy and paste this onto the next map.
Can I have a held action?
Yeah, what for?
I want to have Eldritch Blast at the ready just so I don't have to wait for initiative. I can just fire away. and then I started blasting.
Yeah, I get that. That's fine. So yeah, you have your blast
And
ready.
oh, actually, same for the lions. I want to have the held action of bite for each of them.
Yeah, I mean Kuro would do the same anyway for an arrow.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt
You
you
don't
there.
need to apologize. I mean it's completely valid. I get it.
True.
So as you're walking along, he just says, "It's a shame about Darren and Jade. I really hope they're all right, but we really need to like be careful."
Hmm.
Yeah, bring you to the next map. Now I need to check. Yes, it is this map. I totally didn't want a sewer encounter because I wanted to reuse my sewer map. The stuff I paid for. But yeah, so as you go along, it's just eerily quiet. It's just not a lot of sound, really. The only thing you can hear is the rushing water. As you know. As you're moving along, Kura actually just said, "There's no way you can contact anyone, right? You don't have sending or anything?
I do.
You have the spell sending?
Yeah.
You can use it right now?
Yeah. I have it. I have it equipped and everything.
Good. And he just pinches the bridge of his nose. Who should we contact?
Maybe we should see how Rue is doing. See if he's doing all right. Just prioritizing the king and all.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it.
Okie doke. Yeah, no, that's right. There's no roll for it. Just you do it.
I mean, if Rue's in a different plane, there's a 5% chance. But I'm not asking you to do a D100.
Okay. Do I just write what should I write in the message?
I mean, it's
Just
up to
like
you.
we're in the sewers. Are you guys dealing with zombie shit too, kind of thing? I
I'll
can
leave-
send up to
I
what was
mean,
it, 25 words?
all Kuro would really suggest if he was to give you any advice would be just like, let him know we're in the sewers and check where he is. Although both you and him would know that Rue was at the castle with Felix. So in
Yeah.
theory, they should be together fighting off whatever's going on. But I will say in the timeline, Felix's thing would have been first before anything.
Hold on, I'm writing it out just so I can count out the words to make sure. It's a very short message. All right. Should I type mine out in the Roll20 chat here?
Yeah, just share it out so then we can all see it. Or you can, it's up to you really. Right. So, you get a response actually, and it just says, "Been captured. Had to send Felix away. No clue about anyone else."
Sorry, start that over again. I missed the first part.
I'll type it out.
All right, that's probably better.
I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
Fuck, captured by who?
You say that out loud?
Yeah, I say that out loud to Kuro.
Fuck, he's been captured. Great.
So I guess
Well,
we gotta see about the castle. There's probably some pretty strong zombies up there.
I mean, if that's where he's captured, they're probably using it as like a base.
Yeah.
We need more than just us two.
I'm gonna have to contact the others. He said he sent Felix away.
Try and
Shit,
message
I only
him.
have 1 third level spell slot left, so I only have 1 sending spell.
I would wait. What I'm taking us is probably where I actually sent some guards off to basically form a a haven for people right now. It shouldn't be too far from here, but from what I've heard from them, they're getting attacked, so we need to make our way as quick as we can and help them out. And at least there we'll have a place to sleep and rest for a bit.
That'll be a good idea. I want to make sure I have all my spell slots back for what's to come.
I mean, that's if we're allowed to, and that's if we don't get into any fights right now. But let's not waste any more time. Yeah. And then there. And there. He goes there. He is there. And you are here and there, and just so on.
Yep.
And you get to about here, and then you actually see this hole in the wall. You can clearly see that it leads to the other side. So you could just use it as like a quick, I mean, you can still turn the corner round here, so it's not too bad, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just a fun little design quirk that I did when
So that
making
hole in the
it.
wall is like a little path through right there.
It's a path through, but you can easily get around anyway. So it
Um,
really doesn't change a thing.
Yeah, there's not really any need to go through, so just go around, I guess.
I mean, for flavor, you can just like uses a
Sure.
lot less movement, but hey.
Yeah, use it as a shortcut, might as well.
You get to about here again where Kuro just like, you see this valve, and Kuro just points to it and just says, "This is for changing water flow." I mean, thankfully, we don't really need to do that right now, in theory. But if we do get attacks down here, it would be good if we, if we do get attacked, changing the water flow won't be too bad to washing the enemies away. But here's hoping we don't get to that point. Hey.
Yeah. But hey, we know it if we need it.
Yeah, I thought I'd let you know just in case we have to split up from each other at any point. As you've been walking as well again, it's just been very quiet. Like the only sounds you're hearing are again the sounds of rushing water, dripping water from the ceilings, and then like again footsteps. Then you sort of get on here. It's a very stable bridge point. And then Kuro has to sort of look around again. Sorry, I just need to try and remember where we need to go now. It's a bit awkward when obviously, we're not up on the surface. It shouldn't be. It should just be down here to this way. He points. That way. Like this way. Let's not waste any more time. All right.
I'm following your lead, Kuro.
I
You
know.
know the underground here a lot better than I do.
I mean, I had to when I was a vigilante.
My
Excellent.
point exactly.
Excellent case for surprise attacks. And
I'll
then
just
when
let
they
you move the token around. You know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's more just because, maybe you can consider it lucky, but thankfully you don't get attacked at all. Maybe you could consider that lucky. It's up to you. Unless you want to fight.
No, I think I'm chilling for now. I
Coward.
don't exactly have full health, and I'm squishy again after losing the amulet.
Here you go. And then the lines move across. The other one moves across. Moves here. I will say as well, it is quite dark, so you are having to rely on like dark vision.
At least I don't have disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually, what's your passive perception?
22.
Right, it's only because. Let me just check Kuro's sheet as well, because he has to. He actually has pretty decent perception. Not as good as you. In fact, you actually hear it just unintentionally because it's making noise. You hear something stirring in the water, coming from that way.
Oh, great. They can swim now, too.
What can swim?
Something's in the water. I'm just
Great.
being facetious. I just hear something in there. Could be harmless, could be something not so harmless. So should I try to do a perception or like a check or something to see if I can...
Well, you know what it is. So you don't get surprised. As you see
KS.
something burst from the water, and this is this.
Motherfucker.
Some big human-faced looking worm. Only half its body sticking up from the water.
What's the name of that face stealer bitch from Avatar?
Toad the Face Stealer.
Oh
was the
yeah,
name?
that's fun. Co.
Toad the Face Stealer.
Ko. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have to do initiative?
Yeah, you do.
Alright, I'm gonna do mine first. And then yeah, this. Woo! Not a bad roll.
Oh wow, this actually did the worst. Don't the lions have better dexterity than you?
I think so. Oh, one of them rolled shit.
Because yeah, this first lion would be faster than you. This one here, this one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
And then this one got the 6.
Oh yeah, let me look at the dexterity. Actually, I didn't actually confirm.
I think
So
it is
my
1.
dexterity is 1 plus 1. Theirs is plus 2. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
theirs is better.
So Kuro, because he had his held action, shoots at it.
I have my held
Okay.
action too.
Yeah, you just go in first because initiative and all that. But even then, longbow shoots. Does that even hit? Oh, just. As he manages to shoot it right down its throat, as it roars, and it just coughs up blood. Then you get your shot.
Yep. I'm a firing my laser.
You
That doesn't
shoot
work.
it. Well, no, as a held action, you only get one shot, unfortunately.
Oh. Dang it.
As it bursts out, you hear it coming, but you didn't expect it. So you shoot it, and it actually manages to like just headbutt the blast away and doesn't get phased. And Kuro actually just says, "Oh, before, because it is his turn." He just looks at you and say, "We actually kind of need to not waste any time. That's too
So-
big to get up the manhole cover, so we should probably move as fast as we can.
So just run.
Unless you want to get in a fight with it."
Hold on. Let's see if I have a spell for this.
Well, it's Kuro's turn.
I know. I'm just for my turn. Ooh, okay. I got a good one. All right. So I'm ready to go once we go.
He's going to send them, and he's going to just take 2 shots. And he actually just says, "We need to go. I'll cover you." So that shoots, and it just tinks off its body. Just seem quite armored. And that one hits them for that much, and it just screams in more pain.
So one of the lions will lead the way. Let's see, speed is 50 feet. Okay, cool, awesome. In that case, we're gonna go 15. Right over there. So this lion's gonna go like over here, just down the way to lead the way. Is that the direction? That's the direction we're trying to go,
Yeah.
right?
The thing is, the lion can't climb up the manhole. And unless you and Kuro
What do you
work
mean
together,
you can't?
unless you and Kuro work together to lift it up,
Well, it's
How
just to lead the way for any danger. It's not going to go up the manhole. It's,
Oh,
if anything, I'm
God.
gonna break them down to figurines as we're going up, but they're gonna defend our way.
I actually
Until
need to
then.
check. Oh no, lions just have normal vision, which is stupid because lions actually have really good dark vision.
IRL, right? But these are also magic lions.
No, D&D just doesn't have lions with dark vision, which is stupid for whatever. I mean, wizards really don't know their animals because octopi would actually be very intelligent, but anyway.
Hmm. So then, my turn.
Yes, it is.
Okay, hold on. Let me do some measurements. Okay, so okay, good. So I'm going to cast blindness, deafness on the fucking thingy.
I will say, it doesn't look like it even has eyes. But you could make it deaf, but it clearly knows the direction of where it's facing towards.
Hey, what the? But,
I mean, you can make it deaf, it's just, you know. I mean, it's genuinely up to you, but.
okay, maybe not then. Maybe I'll just run.
I mean, you can dash.
Yeah, I'll use my action to dash and get, like,
Then you get,
basically right up behind the lion, because that gives me another 30 feet, right?
Yeah. Well, dashing
I'll
would
just-
mean you get 60 feet, so you could run past it and go there.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah. As you see, though, with your dark vision, there's nothing in the way, so look at you.
Alright. And then if I can use a bonus action to do a perception check to see if anything's ahead of us, or is
That's
that
what
not?
I mean. You can just see
Yeah.
there's nothing ahead.
Okay, cool. Awesome. We're good.
The crawler creature moves in and goes to attack this lion. Opening its jaws to an unbelievable amount as it goes for a bite. I forgot it has that much to hit. That's an 18. Actually
That
rolled
hits.
very low.
And how much damage?
20 points of piercing damage.
Alright, Mufasa
And-
is almost dead now.
And now it's considered grappled as it's held in the creature's mouth. Oh, I forgot. It does that. So you look back to Kuro, and he looks horrified. And you just hear him say, "He's eating the lion!" As it gets swallowed inside.
Any way I could do a reaction to deactivate the lion?
No. Unless it actually says so, but I don't.
Okay, no, it
I think
doesn't.
it's just like... golden lions, yeah, it's just an action. And I'd say it
And once
costs
they're
another
dead,
action
they're
to do it
just
again.
dolls again. They're just my little statuettes.
And we only get them for an hour anyway, so...
True.
Yeah, you watch as it gets... Yeah, as it's vored by the lion. On a good... On the good... do you want the good news or bad news, Seamus?
I'm gonna have to hear both anyway, so let's hear the bad news first.
The bad news is... the creature is blinded and restrained while swallowed.
Uh-huh.
And it will take 66 acid damage at the start of this thing's turn. Do you want to hear the good news?
Sure, yeah, let's hear the good news.
The lion gets tussle cover against all attacks and effects.
I guess that's a silver lining.
Right. The other lion, this one, because it was that turn. Unless you want to... Because you moved that one for the 18, didn't you?
Yeah.
Without realizing yet, this one's actually the 18.
Oh, well,
But it's fine, we can just say it's the other way around. So this one's turn. It's inside, it's restrained.
can it do anything like a claw or a bite?
All attack rolls have disadvantage.
Ah.
So you can at least make an attempt, because it literally can't do anything else. Hits. Somehow. Yep. So somehow it finds purchase on the inside of the creature and manages to bite down against some of it. Sadly, you don't know what's inside of it though, so it's hard to really describe. But it begins to cough up more blood. Kuro just fucking books it. He is actually just going to move 30 feet and just hold another action, so if the creature does come out, he'll shoot at it. This lion's turn, what does it do? Dylan?
Sorry, say that again.
This
it's
lion's
the lion's
turn.
turn. This lion is... It's gonna be the caboose of the caravan here, just to protect our exit. So
it's
I'm just gonna have it.
there.
Well, no, just to like get ahead of people. Oh wait, yeah. It's gonna stay there. Yeah, especially since Kuro moves after the giant worm thing, so it's gonna stay right there.
Right. Your turn.
I'm gonna use my action to dash. Of course, I'll get 60 feet of movement. Can you help me measure it out? How far 60 feet would be for me around the bend, or it's just right up the thing, right?
You 30 feet, and then it's like 15 feet up, so you could easily get up.
All right, I'll do that real quick.
So do you climb it as well then?
I'm gonna wait there for a turn. I'm gonna
Okay.
let Kuro lead the way, if anything, because he's better in combat than I am.
Kuro would say as you make your way, it should be safe up there. It'll take you actually into the place that we need to go.
All right, then I'll go up with his words of encouragement, but
he
with the held action of Eldritch Blast.
You can't hold it. You can't.
Okay, never mind then.
I always forget because like held actions are always so weird. So forget. I'm sure sacrifice is the actual action you could make. Yeah, it's considered your action for the turn.
All right, then never mind. Guess I'll just see what comes.
You
I'll
go
take the
up.
chance. Yeah, let's go
When
up.
you go up, you actually see quite a few guards, and they see you and just like, "Oh, Seamus, come up!" And they actually help pull you up. And they
Whew,
just say,
thank
"Where's
God. Okay.
Kurogane?"
He's right behind me. He's coming right now. But big old monster down there.
Yeah, we know. It already took some of us out. Right,
Yikes.
the creature begins to go under the water. And then I have to make a thing. Oh, wait, yeah, I forgot. 66 acid damage from the monster for the lion.
Well, he's dead then.
24 acid damage.
Yeah, he's more than dead.
Yep, as
By Mufasa, you will not be
it
forgotten.
is destroyed inside. And then it goes under the water. And it bursts out from there. And tries to bite at Kuro. Let me see. Let me check. Plus that much to hit. Don't know why I forgot. Lucky. Got an 18 to hit, and Kuro's AC is 19. As it gnashes at the end, Kuro just barely dodge rolls away. What do you do if you're a lion?
Hold on one second. I'm away from my computer right now, but the lion is going to defend Kuro and attack the creature in just a sec here.
Okay. I mean, while you're sorting that out, I can always just click the lion for you.
Yeah, if you want to do that. He's gonna do a bite
Wow,
real quick.
19 to hit.
That'll do it.
7. Pretty nice damage. Not too bad. It could be better, but hey, nah, it's fine. So now it's Kuro's turn. So you can't see what Kurogane does because obviously you're up top. Actually, I need to even check what you can do. Where is it now? There it is. There's a long rest when he gets that back, right? So you hear the creature and everyone above, because there are a lot of townspeople as well in this sort of. You actually look around and you're actually in sort of like a shopping area, like sort of an inside bazaar, like a big indoor market. But you just hear this inhuman scream and this like hiss coming from down there. I'm gonna bring you back to the world map. No. As you eventually see Kurogane up there, just climbing up the ladders. And he looks very tired.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to take a nap or something.
When you get out, I'm just gonna bring all the peeps who are actually involved in this stuff. When you get up, they help pull Kurogane out to safety. And all of the townspeople looking a bit better now that they're seeing, Kurogane. But you just, Kurogane looks exhausted, actually exhausted. And he doesn't even have a point of exhaustion. And so he just, looks to the others and just say, what's the status of everything? And they just say, sadly, there's no guy's been missing in action the whole day. We don't know where he's gone.
Not Guy.
Cammy said she's been looking around. So we're still looking for her. But we don't know where Jade and Tristina are. And we also don't know where your friends are, Seamus, unfortunately.
Shit.
And yeah. By this point, Kuro actually just looks to the others and just says, do you mind if we rest at all, just for now? And they just nod and say, yeah, there's a back room where you can have a quick nap if you need it. And Kurogane is going to have a short rest. Are you going to follow him?
Yeah.
Right, so you get a short rest, so you can use hit dice to heal.
Shit, but I can't use it to get my spell slots back.
unless you were a warlock. Kurogane
Yeah.
is going to second wind before he rests. Because he might not even need to really do too much.
You do have Song of Rest, Dylan.
Oh, it's
Yep.
true. And what was that? Song of Rest is a D4?
You should know your own
D6.
abilities at this point.
D6.
Yep, roll a d6.
Wow. So much
Kurogane is
benefit.
going to use a hit dice, because he actually needs...
Well,
Wow, that's such a shame, because he was only 2 away from max. So yes, Kurogane is at full HP, and then we're going to cut to someone else. In fact, we're going to cut back to Dayron. Meanwhile, Dayron, as you are moving around with Jade, you actually begin to see in the distance, because you actually have very good perception, you see a large flying creature descending on top of a building before you lose it from sight, because it seems to have lowered. The area you can see is in fact actually the arena. You know the one where you fought Rua's cousin?
Yes.
Jade actually looks at you and says, I think if that's the arena, I think some people... There was actually a small tournament going on earlier on as well. And if some of them fighters get turned... And who knows, maybe Aldane and the others might be there? Doesn't hurt to check at least, right?
Right.
Do you go there then?
Yes.
So as you make your way, it's actually eerily quiet as you get there. I'm going to change the music again. As you know, we've been using the same music for a hot minute. If this will actually work. Come on, load. I'm gonna cry. It's fine. Here we go. Here is the new music mill. So as you get there, you find no signs of anyone at the arena. At least from the entrance.
Do we still have the civilians with us?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Actually, then we'll rewind it. Oh no! You said you were going to the guardhouse, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ignore me then. But you would see that, so we'll get back to that later. Getting mixed up myself. It's my own fault. So you do make your way to the guardhouse, and you do actually see a few guardsmen are stood at windows with arrows, and they do relax once they see you. And one of them gestures for you guys to come in.
I wait until everyone else is in and then go in
Yeah.
last.
When you're inside, a guardsman just says like, "It's good to see you guys. There's another group down by the big marketplace that should be, in theory, as far as we know, is where Kuro and Seamus might be. The only problem is that that's pretty much near on the other side of the city.
Well, then we know where we're going then.
Well, that's the only thing, though. But on the way, because we sent Cammy out there, it's been blocked off heavily. The easiest way would be near the art gallery. For now, though, we've been hunkering down, doing the best we can. We've lost contact with a lot of other areas, though, and a lot of our guards have been, well, unfortunately lost. One of our scouts did see Aldane, by the art gallery though with Tristina, so that's good. And he had Oriana with him.
Okay, good.
They were last sighted heading inside. Again, the only problem is that some areas where we've got prefabs up, so it would be next to impossible to get there from where we are. It still doesn't hurt to check out though.
For sure. I let them know about the thing that I saw on the roof of the,
The arena.
yeah.
Yeah. They just nod and say, right. We do know a couple of guards were down there keeping watch. We did lose sight. We did, last thing we heard, they were safe, but we haven't heard since that.
Any word from Guy or...
The guy's been missing in action the whole day. We don't know where he is at all. The last thing we heard is that he was by the arena, though. So if he was anywhere, he'd be there. And knowing him, he's probably holding them off. And he does have sending as a spell. So if we can get hold of him, he'd be incredibly crucial. Provided he hasn't had to use them already.
I let Jade explain her information, like her intel about Throw Sending Stone.
Yeah, she does say that. Like, that pretty much anything from Kuro, or at least his sending stone in particular, is compromised. And the guards do look a bit worried and just say that explains why some of our soldiers have been sent out and we've not heard anything from them. Fuck. Yeah. Jade does speak up and say, do you think we should at least try the arena? We can always run away if it gets dangerous, but
Yeah,
not really much of a leap we've got.
we have to look into,
I mean, Guy's the second... If Kuro dies, then Guy's his replacement.
yeah, we have to make sure we have to get people out of here. Are there any evacuations being made at right now?
Well, unfortunately, there's not really much we can do. We're having to sort of hunker down. What we're trying to do is coordinate with the higher districts, the middle and upper one. But unfortunately, they seem to have actually been hit first.
That tracks. Who is the leader of the guard? Who is the leader of the two guard districts up there?
The middle district is the Earth Genasi, as you know. Cliff Sendal. And I'm actually trying to find the name of the Dragonborn. Because it was the Blue Dragonborn guard. I can't remember her name though, because I'm trying to find it in my notes. It began with an A, I know that. I was going to say ananas, but that's a pineapple.
Yes.
They would say though that they haven't been able to get a hold of him.
Okay.
They did actually also spot some activity by the castle, not at least not before around the time probably when this all would have started. They
Okay.
did see a flash of platinum light, not too different from when Rua activates his actual stealth. So it's possible he's had to fight at some point. The only problem, and they would say, and they've checked out, there's some very dangerous creatures there. And they've even seen some mutants that they've never even seen before. One of them being some giant worm, and another one being this winged creature that you also would have seen. You didn't really get a good look of it from your vantage point, though, Daron. And neither did they, but they saw something winged and flying.
I just say, me and Cammy are gonna, not Cammy, Jade are gonna go to the arena. If Aldane or anyone else calls in, try to have them wait here for our return.
They nod. Right, so you head out, right?
Yep.
Give me 2 stealth checks and 2 perception checks then as you make your way through.
That's stealth 1 and stealth 2.
I actually can't even find the name of the Dragonborn. I'll have to spend some off time doing it.
And with your stealth modifier, you'd have to roll a nat 1 to fail.
I mean, even then, sometimes the DC can be incredibly low, and hey. Because again, nat ones don't mean auto fails in my campaign, because I feel like that's kind of cruel.
Mhm.
The only time a nat one's an auto fail is to hit, but that's an actual like rule.
Mechanic.
Yeah, it's an
Mhm.
actual like thing. So Jade will do 2 stealths and 2 perception. Wow. Her best her best stealth roll was also Daron's worst stealth roll. To be fair, Jade has a penalty to dexterity and wisdom.
Oh yeah, that's tough for this kind of thing.
But to be fair, Jade actually has 20 strength, 18 con, 13 in int, and 16 charisma. So, you know, she's actually pretty. She'd be clever enough to multi-class into wizard. In theory. So, it's not great, honestly. By the time you're leaving the guardhouse, things are already looking not too great. You're already seeing more prefab walls that weren't there before. Some of them are further in the distance, though, which might be good or bad, depending on your perspective. As you've noticed, some of these prefab walls are less to block areas off, and more to keep creatures in and contained.
Right.
Some more buildings are destroyed, more areas are like damaged, and it's not great. Honestly, you're also seeing a lot more bodies as you get closer to the arena. And as you actually make your way, yeah, you get to the entrance and there's no one there, no sight of anyone. At least outside. You haven't. You'd have to check inside, maybe. Who knows?
I don't like this.
You have a bad feeling about this?
Can I do my eye for So I have eye for detail, which lets me use a perception check to look for any hidden people.
Alright, go for it. Go for it, my dude. As far as you can tell, there's no one on the outside. It looks like anyone that you're looking for might be inside. Like, in the actual arena area. Jade
Is
just
there any like evidence of like a bloodshed or battle?
along the walls, you do see some, like, broken windows. From what you can tell, the glass was shattered from the inside, as there is glass around the, the building. Very likely people were using them as vantage points. The actual entrance door has been heavily scratched and damaged, but has still seemed to hold.
Do I see any evidence that like Aldane or
I mean, it's hard to really tell. Like, none of the party particularly have a calling card, really,
I
in
mean
that degree.
Aldane would like have holy fire, I guess.
Yeah, but there's also other paladins in the the guard, so as far as you can tell, there's nothing like that, or at least on the outside of the building. Jade just says, if we go in, stand behind me.
Yeah, I figured.
If anyone's gonna get bit, it should be me. At least you can run away and hide.
Yeah, well, you as a zombie is not. Jade, if I get bitten, kill me. Don't
I'd
don't
ask you.
bother.
I'd ask you to do the same to me as well. I mean, hey, if I do get turned, doesn't seem like any of these zombies have access to magic, so that's good.
Yeah. So we can never be too sure.
No. Let's go, though. So, as you enter the building, it's just quiet. There's nothing. And as you're looking around in, like, the reception area, you actually don't see trace of anyone. The
Not
only
even
thing
the
you
giant creature.
the only thing you see are blood splatters, at least inside the reception area and stuff like that. You don't see where this giant creature would have gone, which is eerie to think about.
Can I see how long the blood's been there?
Yeah, you don't even have to. It's already dried quite a bit. This place has already probably been hit a while ago. Provided, there aren't more people inside. Jade does actually pipe up and say, I do know there is an underground area of this arena. So it's possible, well, that Guy and the others have went underground. But we'd have to go further in the building to find out.
Okay. Let's do it.
As you go through, you actually do see from like a small window area that actually shows you the outside of the building, like to the actual arena, are two people standing there. You recognize both of them though. One of them being the man with the skull-looking face.
It's
He seems to be He seems to be talking to someone though, but you can't tell from this angle. The back is to you.
I just look at Jade. I'll be right back, and I try to get a better look.
Yeah. Give me a stealth check as you approach the window to the outside. So
I do have the. No, I don't have the cloak. Fuck.
you don't.
Don't have
You-
the cloak.
You do not, my friend. So I'm actually going to take you to the map for the arena. But you do see this. Give me a sec. I'm trying to fix it. So you do. I'm going to bring you to here. To the side is the cloaked, as you can assume, the orc that you've seen already. And then this person you can't see from where you are. I'd say you would be about here, from where you are, or at least this is you'd be seen from this angle anyway. So you can't really see this person because of these two.
Hmm.
What you inciting for?
General demeanor. Like, are they arguing? Is this like, what's the power? Can I get a
What-
sense of the power dynamic?
From what you can tell, this man is clearly quite important. This the orc itself, you can clearly tell are not talking. They're just not moving at all. In fact, you can even tell they're not even breathing. This other person, though, from the gestures you can vaguely see, it looks like they're wearing Cordician guard armor. And they seem to just be quite relaxed. And this other person is even more relaxed from what you can see from behind. They're just slowly nodding at stuff.
Can I try and get a better look?
If you were to get a better look, you'd very likely be more out in the open, or you'd have to actually come out into where they are. From what you can tell, though, you do see this man as he waves off as if you can leave now.
Mm-hmm.
And you do see as they enter the other side of the arena and walk away.
Okay. I go back to Jade and give them. I give
You-
Jade like the
From the rundown.
yeah.
I want to kill this guy who's caused this problem. If he's the one causing the issues, I want to make sure he's dead.
So do I, Jade.
So are we going out then? And hey, we can at least talk to them and know what's going on. And if, ideally, we can make a lot of noise or make a lot of sounds to draw people towards us for help.
My concern is the guy with the Cordician armor.
Yeah, but unless we chase him down, well, It could be anyone. And if they're on the other end of the building, well,
There's no hip with that, but just to give.
the only thing I would say is we need to be careful of any guards. They very likely couldn't have come from the guardhouse just because, well, we were already there.
Yeah. I guess upper district.
It could be someone else from the lower districts is the problem. There is the group from the bazaar, the market area. Could be anyone for all we know.
Do I get a sense of like is my danger, like my sense of danger going off, like, you know how like sometimes.
Honestly, the most worrisome bit is the fact that you've not encountered any resistance since entering the building, and these two people are the only people you know that are like to do with the problem in any capacity. But they seem to be out in the open, just on purpose as well.
This is all too easy, Jade.
It is. What else can we do? We have no other leads. And unfortunately, from what I remember, the entrance to the underground section of this area is on the other side of the building where they are. Again, I'll hold them off if I have to, and you can get past. You do have that levitate spell, right? So just levitate over and, you know, do like a big jump or something, I don't know.
I can move up or down with levitate, right?
I think so. What does the spell description say?
In a minute, if I
gonna-
have to use it.
Yeah. If you want to put it in the chat.
Rises the
By pushing or pulling against a fixed object or surface, which allows it to move as if it were climbing. You can change the target's altitude by 20 feet up to 20 feet in either direction. If you are the target, you can move up and down as part of your move. So yeah, you could do effectively like a massive jump.
Okay. Jade,
Mm-hmm.
on my signal, rush them.
Alright. If you're certain.
Like you said, what else can we do?
Fair enough. Alright then.
If we go down, it's been an honor.
She nods. So I'm going to bring you onto the map. Just put you there. And put Jade there, if you're fine with that, yeah? So as you bust through...
No, I'm actually taking
Oh.
a sniper shot. Like
Oh,
that's the like, as soon as they make the shot, Jade rushes.
oh right, so you'd be more like... Because the best line of sight would honestly be, like, around the entrance, to be fair. Then. Yeah?
Yeah.
So as Jade... So you're taking the shot, right?
Yes.
Right, make the shot. And then Jade would come out like this.
Yeah, I'm taking the shot against that guy.
Yeah.
Aim and fire, so I get advantage to sneak.
So you make the shot, and immediately, trying to think of how to describe this. You make the shot, and it actually just tinks off the body,
Ah!
and they just look. And the man just looks straight ahead and just says, "Oh, is that Daron? Come out, there's no point in bothering. Let's have a chat." He just grins, and the other person turns to look at you.
Do I recognize them?
It's the guy you saw outside in the tent town area. You walk out.
Yeah.
Jade does.
But I ready and act like so as I walk out, I'm prepared to shoot at the first sign of violence.
Just give me 1 second. Side. So yeah, as you walk out, he just smiles and says, "There you are, Dayron. I was actually wondering where you were. Apologies for running away before, but I was quite busy."
Why?
Well, for one, after dealing with Rua and seeing Felix off and his lonesome, I then had to, well, make sure that the rest of my research was being properly sorted out.
What did you do to them?
To whom? Oh, I did nothing to Felix and Rua, if that's what you're wondering. Who I really want is his grandfather, Akra. I'm a big fan, you see.
And all these innocents, they're just meat for your grinder?
I'd say it's less that and more just, well, I need some way to find out and test things. How else am I supposed to get proper results if I'm not out in the field seeing myself? At least after the fact.
I think Dyron just growls at him.
Do not worry. Anyone who is here has already been dealt with. By the way, it's only fair that I tell you who I am. My name is Galpiu. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I give him like I just like, there's this sense of like Dyron just wants to kill him, like just go feral.
I can understand your fury. It's a very, well, it's a very mortal trait, I guess you could say. Very human would be weird since, well, I'm the only human here.
Just what is? So
I
you just
wish-
want to test? You want to just test your bullshit?
It's less about testing and more just getting, well, the whole point is I want to share joy with everyone. Everyone I've come into contact with and shared my gift has been happy, blissful even. You could be happy as well, you and your friend there. In fact, well, does the name Dench Smith ring any bells to you?
Does it?
Intelligence. It's an easier check than last time.
Dyron's a dummy.
Does not matter. Does not matter.
The only orcs you remember are from places out of the city. Well, as he gestures to the man who pulls off his hood, this man was a criminal who had a bit of a vested interest against you and your group. Apparently you dealt with his club seal, I believe it was. And I decided to make him happy, which also meant he could be strong. And now, he is the first tested and successfully produced tyrant mutant. In fact, I believe
Don't
you've
like
seen...
that.
In fact, you already fought the Crusher mutant outside the outskirts of the city. And well, I was going to say you've probably seen, but well, the point of the Shadow mutants is that they aren't supposed to be seen. And of course, if you saw the Suzaku mutants, the flying creature you saw land, well, that was my transportation. And then, of course, there's my other mutants. A mutant who's been very full on food. One that has been running around the sewers as of late. The Crawler. In fact, he should be here around this very moment. And as he says that, almost as if on cue, the ground begins to shake beneath you, Dayron. And you see a hole open up in the middle of the floor.
God.
Oh no. Out of character and oh no. There we go. Wrong layer. As you see this burst out from the ground. A huge worm creature of a human's face. But you do see some damage marks along some of its body. A couple of them look like bite and scratch marks, and also an eldritch blast. You're certain that must be Seamus's handiwork. Well, I hope you have fun with it. Ta-ta for now, Daron.
Choke on your. Choke
As
on your
they
bile.
walk away, leaving you with it. Jade just readies her axe. Wow. Jade was not ready for this.
No, she wasn't. Let's see if Tyron was better prepared.
By the way, Felix,
Yeah.
you would
Was
be-
better prepared.
as you would probably be under the sewers,
Mm-hmm.
periodically you would hear loads of screeching from a creature that you've not had the pleasure, in quotations, of seeing. But often with its screeching comes ground shaking. The only problem is, from where the castle is, it's quite far away from any actual exits through the sewer.
Mm.
So you would have actually had to be underground for quite a bit. But it seems like the sewers are free from anything, so you've not had to deal with any creatures during your time. Lucky you.
Yay.
But you've been allowed at least rests if you would take any at any point. So you can say you're full HP, as long as you roll hit dice, of course.
Yeah, I definitely probably would have taken a short rest. So I will roll some hit dice. One.
So, Daron, it's your turn.
Uh,
7.
bonus action. Yeah, bonus action, aim and fire.
Okay,
I'll do.
hits. As you shoot it right through the throat. Not too similar from another bow user. Wow!
Yeah.
So that's what? 13?
Yep, that's real bad.
That's really Oh, I nearly wow, that would have been much a different story. So now so you shoot it and it gets up out of the ground, letting you see its full long body as it makes its way over and tries to bite at you. Rolling a Oh, thank God. I thought that was a crit. No, it was just a 19. That was a nat 19,
God.
which is a 29.
That
So,
hit.
you take 19 piercing damage.
Uncanny dodge.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as it
Ow.
bites down, you realize the best way to let it not hurt you as much is to actually. You have to jump partway into its mouth. Because there's literally nothing else you can do as it comes down at an alarming speed. Which is how, then, to justify you being restrained inside its body. As you are now blind and deafened.
Great.
Jade's turn. As she just screams, "Don't you dare hurt my friend Don't you dare hurt my friend anymore, you bastards!" As she just swings a great axe. Actually, wait. Oh yeah, she already used Channel Divinity.
Yeah.
And failed. But she goes for the hit. Misses. Hits. And she's going to do a level 1 smite. That's max damage as well from that 17. That plus 2d8. Still though, it's not too. That's how much in total? 17.
23.
23.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the 29 because that 6 was also. One of the 6s was the flame tongue, and then the other 6 was the smite.
Mm.
So, as that happens, Aldane,
Oh, I'm back on.
as you and Tristina actually get out of the art gallery, you actually see that the shine, the smite, was from the arena.
Well then.
And Tristina just says, "It seems like someone needs our help."
Yes, let's go.
So, you'll have that to look forward to. Oh, Dayron,
Yes.
you are inside the belly of the beast. Wait, you know what? No, I'll be nice. Because this isn't exactly based on that creature. So, now this creature must actually make a con save. Here's hoping it fails for your sake again.
22.
It fails.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, as Jade basically cuts across its stomach, you actually get regurgitated out of it.
Ow.
And now you are considered prone. Oh, 10 feet off it. As it chucks you there. As you are now prone. But you are free. Which is lucky.
I get up.
You actually
And I-
watch, though, as quite a few corpses also fall out.
Fuck.
A lot of these bodies have been almost completely unrecognizable from stomach acids.
Does it look like they can get up?
All of them are corpses. You find about 4 corpses that fall out next to you.
Yeah, I'm asking.
He's
can
wondering
they
if
get
they're a
up?
zombie.
No, they're completely like melted into
okay.
nothingness.
Um,
You can get up though.
Alright, and I do. And I'm guessing Jade's still in melee?
Jade's still in melee, yeah. She just yells to you. Oh, yeah, that hits. Yeah, and the snook. Getting a lot of ones today.
Yeah, I'm not doing too great.
That's ridiculous. So that's 17 damage. You do a good chunk of damage though.
It's not nothing, but
As you shoot it right under its chin, causing it to cough out more blood, and it uses 2 of its mandibles to rip out the arrow. And now the mutant creature begins to actually. He doesn't even need to worry about that. So seeing the thing that actually caused it to regurgitate its food goes to bite at Jade. That's 25 to her, so that'll definitely hit. As she takes 22 piercing damage.
Ooh.
And she just screams in agony as it just begins to eat her up, and she's now swallowed up. Can she do anything? Restrained, total cover, takes acid. So while Jade's inside, she is going to try and disadvantagedly hit with a great axe. Yeah. Misses, unfortunately, as she can't really do anything inside. Dayron, before it gets to you, you begin to hear footsteps. 2 sets of footsteps. As Aldane, you see
As
as
soon as I see Aldane and Tristina come in, I scream, "Jade's inside! We need to hit it hard enough to regurgitate."
Jack, roll me some inish.
Oh boy, my favorite thing to roll.
Oh no, that's you hate to see it.
Aldane just stopped still trying to, like, process Darren's words.
Regurgitate? No,
What? No.
you've never seen this thing before, Aldane. Luckily, you could say. But yeah, it's Tristina's turn. No, it's not. It's that creature's turn. Oh no,
Wait,
it's
isn't
your
it my
turn,
turn?
Daron.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's my turn.
Yeah, your turn was summoning your allies. No, that. Go for it.
As I take aim and fire.
Uh,
22, because I aimed.
Yeah. yes, that does hit.
There we go.
That's what we like to see. And sneak.
Eh,
Wow.
Jesus.
So as you shoot it right in the throat, back in the same place you did before, it begins to cough up. Now it has to make a con save. He has plus that. And regurgitates Jade back up.
oh good, Jade, you're back.
Thank God, because it was just about to be her turn, which means she would have had all that acid damage. The creature again pulls out the fucking arrow from its mandible, tosses it in the same place, and then looks to you and begins to bite. That is a 16.
That matches.
Well, if it matches, that means it hits, unfortunately. So you take 22 piercing damage.
Uncanny dodge.
As you are now regurgitated back inside, swallowed back inside. Now it's Tristina's turn. As she runs in. Aldane, you watch as she does her planar warrior ability, as she would have explained this to you. She does that and pulls back on her bow to take a shot. Misses, unfortunately, but she does have a second attack. Hits. For max. Pretty good. I mean, she made up for the low damage, really, for not getting the first hit in. With 17. As she also shoots it in the spot where Daron's shot.
We're just really going at it. Like, we're just, like, really making it pissed.
You just hate its chin and its throat. Its chin looks too nice for the rest of the face. Like, its chin's too handsome. It'd be
Part
like
of me wants to think that, like, Christina's like, I can make that shot. Like, she's trying to split the... Like, if the bolts were still in there, she would make those... She would be trying to split my bolts.
Jade runs in, swings around. Yeah, Jack, you can see. She's got a great axe, and it's on fire.
Does the thing need to make a con save?
No, not enough damage. It has to be a specific amount of damage total for it to on the turn. Misses. Hits. That's such a shame it's not a crit.
Ooh.
So that's 10 plus... Wow, the Flame Tongue damage has been garbo, but 15, which unfortunately... You know what? No, fuck it. She's gonna smite. Level 2 smite for Dayron. This is 3d8. Just enough. Now it has to make a con save. And fails! Dayron. You are there. Well, no, there. As you watch, she actually manages to cut, like, part of its lower body off.
How's it looking?
From... You actually see it's not too long before it can die. Aldane.
Let's see.
What, you gonna try and jump over and dash?
No.
I'm gonna say you could if you wanted. You'd have to make an athletics check.
Let's just go
Aldane
here.
would do that. Aldane would do that.
Aldane
I'm just throw a javelin.
just nat ones and falls down the hole. And then Aldane gets to play with Felix.
Does that hit?
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Because you also hit it. You actually split Tristina's arrow.
nice. I forget. Do I get 2 javelin throws?
Yeah. Misses,
That does not
unfortunately.
hit.
Tinks off its forehead.
Oh, let's see if that was all my movement. If not, I'll move more. That was just 20 feet, so I can move over there. I will move over there. And if it's still alive next turn, I can move into range.
Yeah. Dayron, it's your turn.
I stand up.
How many times have you been swallowed? Have you and Jade been swallowed by this now? It's crazy.
Twice for me, I think. Once for Jane. I get up, cough, like, just kind of dust off the acid, and take a pot shot.
All this time, by the way, Felix, you would have heard just screaming and blasting and shouting. Would you have headed to the source of the noise?
There
Probably,
we
yes.
go.
If you did, he'd probably hear us more and more. It's the familiar sounds of, like, divine smites. And what you can probably hear are very familiar voices from some of your friends. Sneak. So, what happens is, Dayron, you take the shot, you focus, you see its smug chin that still just needs one more shot to completely ruin it and kill it. You take the shot, you shoot right through its chin, and you notice actually under its chin is actually this, like, thing that's been put on its body. Like, it's this sort of metallic disc, it looks like, from what you can see. Almost as if something's been, like, as if it's been placed on the chin. And you shoot it and actually manage to penetrate through it, and its entire head explodes as it falls dead.
Oh god.
You guys okay? She just looks to Tristina and... Tristina says to Jade and you.
Jade needs healing.
How about we do it not... How about we do it not next to the big monster corpse? Let's
Yeah,
come this
probably a good
way.
idea.
Just
Come
gestures,
on
let's
over.
come this way.
Quick question. Where's
Yeah.
Oriana? Have you guys run into anyone else?
We left her with some soldiers. They were supposed to be heading to the market area. As far as I know, There should be some soldiers there to look after her and the others.
We're going to rendezvous with them after we've healed up.
Yeah,
We met an outpost of guards at the lower tier guardhouse. We
right.
want to try and consolidate.
How
So we'll
about we...
rendezvous at the market area and then move on to the guardhouse.
I mean, we can rest. We can have a quick rest here for now for an hour. At least not outside, but you know.
Yeah.
And as you guys
should
speak,
also-
you actually
I
see the
also
ground. Sorry, go for it first.
I tell them about what we had seen prior, like what's been going on and the information we got.
I was
The
gonna
asshole.
say, you can speak for a little bit, but the ground actually shakes as the floor begins to give way. As you actually have to
Run.
as you have to dash to get inside.
Run, run,
As
run.
the hole gets bigger, you can easily get inside and, you know, rendezvous with the others. But Felix,
Yes.
as you make your way, you actually you begin to see probably the source of the sound as this creature, this worm, falls through the ground and the floor gives way as basically an almost like tidal wave of sludge and sewage water comes your way. I'm guessing you make an about face.
Yes.
Yeah, give me a dex save actually, as you find a corner to hide round, but you need to dodge out of the way. Mill, I'll ask you as a person. High or low?
Oh God, hi.
Alright. Right. So, the tidal wave of sludge comes at you and sewage, and you see a corner that you can hide round. You passed it earlier on, and you know there's an alcove you could hide into.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a bit too late. As you're like, I can make it. Why am I being pushed? Why am I suddenly very wet? As you basically get thrown by the tidal wave and find yourself in the water.
Today has not been a good day. Felix gets out and
Thankfully,
dries himself
thankfully,
with
the
prestidigitation.
thankfully the displaced water means you can actually get out of not too much trouble. As you watch it just funnel down further into the distance. But you see the monster corpse, and it's just there still.
Just pokes it with his foot.
You actually see the sort of destroyed part of the most that's remaining is sort of the middle of its body, and its chin. Like the head's been very much destroyed, but the chin has this sort of metal disc. And as you examine more of it, you actually notice it looks like something was injected into it that then was sealed with that. And as you notice some of more of its features, you can see very small bits of hands and vestigial feet. And yeah, it's not great. Someone was probably turned into this.
Would I be at all able to try and figure out what was injected?
Give me a nature check, my dude.
Oh, good. I'm good at those, supposedly.
It looks like some sort of virus. If you can tell of the blood has been completely changed. I think where as you in it, and the body and the discolored skin, and you actually, if you open it up, and of course, aside from the corpses, not only is the stomach acids much stronger, but it just seems like it's been completely mutated. But from what you can tell, at least compared to the big guy that you saw, as when you saw the big, that big mutant thing that was approaching you,
Yeah.
and those shadow mutants, all of them seem to have these same injection things, but all of them, from what you can tell of the shadow mutants from barely up close, you vaguely remember seeing an S on them. with then a symbol. And on this again, it's got a C with another symbol on it. But this symbol's different. This one sort of has like an insect by it.
Mhm.
Whereas the other one, you remember having a chameleon on the Shadow Mutants. And from what you can barely remember seeing on Dench, you vaguely saw a similar injection mark on the neck to the side,
Yeah.
which had a T on it, and then it had a muscular person. Well, no, sorry, it had a king's crown. What am I saying? Yeah. You'd have to probably compare other mutants to see the exact differences in why was this one made like this, apart from just the symbol. Like, does the symbol have any does it signify they were injected specifically with this, or were they then given this symbol to distinguish it? Or it's hard to really tell. Unfortunately, though, the sinkhole and the way it's formed, it's too hard to actually climb back up. If you wanted to get to the surface,
Yeah.
you'd have to find another way out.
Can I tell that I am beneath the arena?
You see bits of floor and bits of you actually see some Codician, barely bits of Codician guard armor and weaponry, and some civilian clothes and body parts from inside the creature. And from what you can tell as well, these seem to be quite fresh eats. In fact, inside, you actually see something very familiar as well. Like a piece of, what's it called? Seamus's golden lion.
Ah.
So at some point it must have encountered Seamus.
What sort of condition are the weapons in?
Too destroyed to be usable.
Fair enough, thought I'd ask.
One more. Give me an investigation check, actually, as you examine the body. So from what you can tell, and it'll actually be nice with this one, even though this creature clearly had stomach acids that it seemingly used, because you can tell this creature ate things to then digest.
Mm-hmm.
There's another bit of acid inside its body that shouldn't belong, like another source. And you have no clue what it's from, because as soon as you open it up and have a look, it sort of gets it's just too unusable to really examine.
Right.
So do you continue looking for a way out?
Yeah.
Right. So then, I'm going to call that a session.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Now
Thank
we
you.
are on break next week, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm out of town.
Hmm.
We could always try Among Us. Find out who's the sussiest backer of us all.
It's Mill. It's always Mill.
Fuck you.
Nah, Mel's usually the one struggling to figure out who is the sussy backer.
I know.
Because we usually leave him last because it's funny and it's
I'm
Unless
either the last
This gets
alive.
built as quickly.
I'm either the last alive or I'm the killer.
In which case, you're the first out.
yeah.
I'm genuinely good at being the killer, which is why I'm so annoyed it only happens once per second.
Yeah. Mill is actually a pretty good imposter. But anyway, well, I mean, there was an imposter in this campaign as well, but you don't know who.
Part of me does wonder if it's the Dragonborn that you couldn't remember the name of.
No, it's not.
Okay. Anyway, that is the end of the session, which means it's the end of the stream. Tuesday, Fuzzy and I will be going to Ilos in Mass Effect. I'll be playing, I believe. and I think, figured out how to get the good Spectre gear. So we'll see if that works out properly.
It's from the CSEC requisition play.
Yeah, that's what I figured out in doing my investigations. We kept trying to go to the fucking dude on
It's not
Normandy.
really it's not really a spoiler so much, but you need to have a certain amount of wealth.
We have literally all 9s.
Like, yeah, you need to be a certain amount of wealth before like it accesses the master gear.
No, we've got enough wealth. Trust me.
Right.
Thursday, Psychonauts 2. We are at the beginning of Act 3. It was a hell of a reveal in the last stream. Saturday, I believe, is MCU Phase 3 Part 1. So, Phase 3 films up to Black Panther, I believe. And
Correct.
then Sunday, yeah, not sure what we're going to do for the time being. If we can get enough people, it'll be Among Us. If not, we'll figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, thank you for watching. Please give us a follow on Twitch and Twitter, and we will see you next time. Good night.
Later.
Good night.
Bye.